Lying ahead for these teams, the schedules become very important.
They do, and I think they were pretty equally distributed all in all. However, I think Houston got the tough part. They've got 5 of the best 7 teams in football that they've got to play in 7 games. And for them to really get in that tournament postseason, they've got to beat one of the outstanding teams. And I don't think anyone would deny that if they can beat Pittsburgh, they have done that. Because I think Pittsburgh, before the strike started, was maybe the premier team in the game. They were hot, and Bradshaw was at his best.
John, how about conditioning? It's a game of conditioning and discipline. Are they ready?
Well, I think that can be overrated, but I do think that Houston has an edge in their style of play run-wise, because I think they run the ball straight ahead, man-to-man blocking, whereas Pittsburgh uses a lot of games in order to employ Franco Harris. But pass-wise, I think the coordination with Bradshaw, not a lot of timing patterns, run one down, Whaley gets open and hit him on the other side of the coin. Houston does a little more coordinated passing.
All right, we're set and ready to go. On the field, it will be Florian Kemp, who will kick off for the Houston Oilers. Kemp ready to boot it. Bohannon downfield as the kick comes to the short man. That was Ernest French who brought it up across the 35-yard line. And the tackle was made there by Abraham, number 56. So we're set and ready to go as the Steelers will have Terry Bradshaw operating at quarterback with Frank Pollard and Franco Harris there. Stallworth, Cunningham, and Swan, 3 outstanding receivers. The line with Mike Webster, perhaps the best center in the National Football League, right in the middle. First down from the 35-yard line. Getting the call is Frank Pollard. Pollard loses the football as he got to the 42-yard line. Coughed it up. Looked like Robert Brazil, the linebacker, number 52, came away with it. There he is. So a turnover in the opening seconds.
Jay, we mentioned that for Houston to do something and prove to themselves they can play, they have to beat a team as good as Pittsburgh. A break this big, opening up the ball game, can certainly induce a thing such as that. You can see Pollard goes right through a big hole, but Brazil, being the opportunist that he is, jumped on the ball before he had a chance to recapture it.
There's the man that coughed it up. It is first down now at the 42 of Pittsburgh for Houston. Gifford Nielsen starts at quarterback with Armstrong and Campbell. Nielsen on first down, going upstairs, in trouble, and goes down. Good coverage by Pittsburgh. John Goodman, number 95, made the stop on Nielsen with help from Tom Beasley. Nielsen with Armstrong and Campbell. The wide receivers, Bailey, the talented Dave Casper is at tight end. Mike Holston, the other wide receiver. Schumacher, Munchak, Carter, Fisher, and Towns up front. It'll be second down and 12, a loss of 2 on the last play. Houston at the Pittsburgh 44. Nielsen again wants to throw. He does. Complete at the 35-yard line to the tight end, Dave Casper. And the play had been blown dead as Casper took it in near the 35. Jack Ham, number 59, the linebacker, made the stop.
All right, you'd love to go to David Casper where they're playing a double zone. 2 men to the outside, cornerbacks up close. Makes it a pretty tough play on anybody in the middle. The linebackers have to make the play on Casper. They do so after about an 8-yard gain, 3rd and 3. You can see the trend. I think Houston is going to throw the ball. They know that in order to beat Pittsburgh, they haven't run against them well in the past 5 meetings. And when they do win, it's 10-7, 6-3. They've got to score some points, and they know it.
3 wide receivers in there. Mike Renfro, number 82 in the game, as Armstrong went out. Nielsen goes down. The play was made by Tom Beasley, the right end, number 65, the 5-year man from Virginia Tech, coming across. And again, excellent coverage by the secondary.
Pretty good coverage. However, had he picked out his man, if he'd found the one he wanted, he'd have been all right. It was good secondary coverage. It was an exceptional pass rush. And when you get great secondary coverage, your defensive lineman can look pretty good.
Running time. Cliff Parsley averaging 38.3. Rick Woods, number 22, the rookie from Boise State, set to receive. Horsley gets it away, and the ball goes into the end zone. It'll come to the 20-yard line. The Steelers will take it there after a 44-yard punt. 13:01 left to play in the first quarter. No score.
The new
No score. Pittsburgh opened with a 36-28 win at Dallas, then beat Cincinnati in overtime, 26-20. Pollard and Harris in the backfield. Pollard over the 20, 25, out to the 26-yard line. Written down by Jesse Baker, number 75. The defensive group, Kennard, Stensrud, and Baker. Great linebacking here. Brazil, Bingham, Hunt, and Riley. Stemrick, Wilson, Reinfeld, and Perry in the secondary. Terry Bradshaw now has Greg Hawthorne, the four-year man from Baylor, number 27 in the backfield. Swinging it out to Hawthorne. Hawthorne has a first down, dumped out of bounds at the 33-yard line by weak safety Mike Reinfeld.
Boy, you can tell Terry Bradshaw has done a lot of work on throwing swing passes. Earlier in the season, he threw 14 balls to Franco Harris in the first couple games as layoffs. But the ball he threw to Hawthorne was one that 2 years ago he couldn't throw. He'd drop out of there. By the time he went to the sideline, he never got a good angle on his pass. He'd throw it in the stands. He'd make everybody look a little bit unprepared. Right now, he can throw that ball with anybody to the side.
You're telling me, John, that he's still maturing, huh?
Well, everybody keeps learning.
That's right.
If you don't, you get worse. And he just keeps getting better.
Frank Pollard, 44, back into the backfield. And barely back to the line of scrimmage. Vernon Perry, the strong safety, came up to put the clamps on Franco Harris. Harris, of course, with 91 career touchdowns. Perry out of Jackson State. Perry has had a broken shoulder blade early in this year and is just returning to action. Now Hawthorne returns to the backfield, and Pollard comes out. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 34-yard line. 50-year-old Chuck Noll, the head man of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw has time over the middle, and it is incomplete. Benny Cunningham, the tight end, had it momentarily.
Well, he had it, and then now he might have had it because he got that ball cleanly, but Vernon Perry was sitting in a position to make it one of those head-on collisions where Cunningham couldn't do much about it. You can see Bradshaw's got a lot of time to play, playing against Ken Kennard. Larry Brown has been looked upon as maybe the premier right tackle in this game. Gives Bradshaw plenty of time, but Vernon Perry is about 6'4" and about 215. Now, we know how big Cunningham is, but when you allow him to hit anyone blind in the open field, that's liable to be the result.
A timeout. 11:42 to go. A scoreless first period here in the Astrodome. The rookie replaces him. Hawthorne and Harris are the running backs. Jim Smith, 86, a wide receiver. Houston goes to their nickel defense. 3rd and 10 from the 34. Bradshaw hangs in, he throws, and it's incomplete. He had John Stallworth down the middle. The pass a little underthrown.
Jay, the thing, that's one of those timing sort of throws. He had to get the man on the inside flanker back had to clean out for him. He had to come down underneath. Now, Bradshaw got plenty of time, but he hadn't read his speed just as proper as he might. And we might see a lot of that. The little schemes are the things that are going to suffer. You don't see too many complicated defenses or offenses.
There's the barefoot boy from Texas, John Goodson, the rookie. And he's punting to Carl Roaches. Roaches, number 85, at the 23. Steps outside, gets to the 25. Back into the middle, still on his feet. Down he goes. The exciting Carl Roaches, hit by Brian Hinkle, number 53, the linebacker. After all that work, he didn't get much. The ball is at the 25.
Well, you take a guy like Roaches, this is sort of play that's liable to gain nothing or it's liable to go all the way. Now, when Brian Hinkle finally does make the play, he is the only man left in a position to make it. There's a wall formed out to the left side. You can't see on your screen. It would have been 6, but it was a great play by Hinkle.
A 43-yard punt. First down from the 25-yard line for the Oilers. No score with 11:22 to go in the first quarter. Play action. Nielsen throws too high. Going for Dave Casper. Linebacker got a hand on it but couldn't hold it. Nielsen from Brigham Young University. There's the defensive unit for the Steelers with Goodman, Dunn, and Beasley. Ham, Taves, Lambert, and Cole. Marvelous linebacking crew. And Woodruff, Blunt, Shell, and Johnson. 51-year-old Ed Biles, a native of Glendale, Ohio. 28 years preparing to be a head coach in the NFL. 2nd and 10 at the 25. Going to Adger Armstrong, the third-year man from Texas A&M, and Lauren Taves, the linebacker, number 51, made the stop.
And they had a run right at the middle. Now, Pittsburgh is playing the three-man line most of the time, and that was an illustration of it. Jack Lambert will not have the protection with a three-man defensive line that he had with the four-man defensive line, where they could keep all those guards and tackles off of him, and he'll have to make some plays on his own with the man blocking him. It's a tough assignment, and the middle linebacker really doesn't get the best of those three-man line defenses, but that's the way it's going to be for a while.
Pittsburgh in a nickel defense, and Mike Renfro, another wide receiver, 82, is into the game. Nielsen throwing, and it is complete at the 39-yard line, a first down. Renfro made the catch along the sideline. Donnie Shell, the strong safety on the play.
All right, we see the end of it. Donnie Shell, what they're going to try and do is throw the ball to the inside slot back when they're in a man-to-man situation. Gifford picked it up perfectly, and they'll employ a lot of different formations, and if they get a chance, they will use them as they see fit. There's certain things they'd like to do from 2 or 3 different offenses, and if they can, they'll do it.
That's the first catch of the season for Mike Renfro, whose dad, Ray Renfro, was a great star in this league. Up the middle, Earl Campbell across the 40-yard line at the 41. He goes down. Lauren Taves, number 51, in underneath the pile. Also Tom Beasley, number 65. It is 2nd down and 8 coming from the 41-yard line. One of the Oilers is shaken up at the 40-yard line. That's Mike Munchak, the number 1 draft choice. He played at Penn State. He was the 8th player picked in the draft. Ed Biles. Biles coached at Xavier of Ohio. He came to the pros in '69 as an assistant with New Orleans. And Munchak is hurting. Penn State and Pitt, as you folks back in the Pennsylvania area well know, meeting next week in what should be a remarkable football game.
And this man is really something rare. I mean, it's been stated that he may be as good an offensive lineman in another year as there is in this game, and I think the people in Houston feel he is the best offensive lineman on this team right now, even though he's only been here a very short period of time. If they lose him for any period of time, it is severely going to hurt.
He'll be replaced by George Reiner, who also played at Penn State, went to 4 bowl games under Paterno, number 64. So it's 2nd and 7 from the 42. Nielsen, and intercepted. A bad throw as Woodruff came away with it. Wayne Woodruff, his 2nd interception of this season. Pass intended for Harold Bailey.
What he did is he tried to make a great play out of a bad play. It's something you can't do. It's something Gifford did, and he is on a hot spot.
We'll open your eyes.
Until now, a big TV picture meant a big piece of furniture. RCA announces a breakthrough. This new Color Track 2000. See,
there's Dwayne Woodruff. Had some problems last year. Has some great speed, John. We see him react very well here.
Well, as you can remember, he ended the game in the overtime against Cincinnati with an interception during that overtime. Ran it right down there where the game ended. They have tried to pick on Dwayne Woodruff. You don't want to go to the other side. That's where Mel Blount lives, all right? But he played that play beautifully, got a little help from his safety man, and it was a bad throw by Nielsen.
First down for Pittsburgh from their own 45-yard line with Harris and Pollard behind Bradshaw. Terry, lots of time.
Yeah, but nobody open. There we go.
Now he's got somebody, and it is incomplete. Down at the 28-yard line. He had Lynn Swan for Bradshaw's, I think, think, having a little trouble realizing he had that much time.
Well, isn't that fun? I mean, he should be beginning to realize that he's had it for the last 5 years. Those guys have been holding people out of there since the game started. But what he got was just an excellent play by Avon Riley, who actually was beaten, was in a spot when everyone's scattering around, there is no assignment. All right, Bradshaw, being as alert as he is, picked out a man that was open, just underthrew him a little, or it would have been a touchdown.
Yes, indeed. Riley made a fine play, the linebacker. 2nd down and 10. Greg Hawthorne, number 27, is in the game now for Pittsburgh. And there's the handoff to Franco. And they're keying on him. Darrell Hunt, the inside linebacker, number 50, read that play nicely and made the stop.
That was a cute little ditty. I have never seen Bradshaw hand the ball back underneath to Franco. We see Mike Webster. If you're going to run a draw play, try his side. Boy, all those fellas, some people say they're all deformed. None of them have any arms. They got 4 legs apiece. They are the biggest armed offensive linemen in the history of the game, and they might be the best.
Look at Webster's arms, John. Are you talking about it? Boy, they look like 2 cross ties on a railroad.
I think he's about the 3rd strongest in that group, too.
3rd and 12. Houston goes into the nickel. Whistle on the play. The referee is Dick Jorgensen. There you see him indicate delay of game. Chuck Noll from Cleveland, Ohio, became the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers in '69.
Delay. Offense. Still 3rd down.
You know, that does happen a little more than it used to, generally because the coaches call so many plays from the sideline. But today is one of the rare days in the National Football League where you see both sides calling the plays on their own. Both Bradshaw and Nielsen are calling their own plays, so it's kind of a throwback, and I think it's healthy. You don't have to wonder who to blame.
3rd and 17. Down he goes at the 30. The play was made by Brazil, number 52. Robert Brazil. When we talked at the top of the show, John, about the conditioning, I can tell you there's certainly a lot of intensity down there.
No doubt about that, and it's guys like Robert Brazil and Woody Woodner said earlier in the game that, hey, you know, Houston has played together for a long period of time. They'll be able to do a few more things than we will defensively because we've got a very young defense. We're going to play a lot of different people, but we won't use a lot of schemes. There was nothing tricky about that. That was just a beautiful pass rush, and nobody picked him up.
Goodson's punt is fielded by Carl Roaches. He brings it across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Ernest French, number 20, on the tackle. A 49-yard punt, a 7-yard return. Back with more in a moment.
There's an extra toughness in trucks. Ram Tough. Dodge Rams are a new generation of pickups. Frames hardened with carbon steel.
Number 1 draft pick out of Penn State, Mike Munchak, being taken out. His left ankle injured. They'll do a precautionary x-ray. George Reiner takes over for him, former Penn Stater from Pittsburgh. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. No score. 7:45 to go. First quarter. Throw comes out. And that is Adger Armstrong, who is across the 35-yard line. Gary Dunn, the noseman, number 67, made the tackle. Armstrong played at Texas A&M, became a starter the last 2 games of last season here.
Right. And he may be a more integral part of their offense as the season wears on because they know he's a player. He and Edwards, both running backs. They've got to take some of the heat off Earl Campbell. You'll notice Gifford Nielsen has done that in the early phases. They've shown they're going to throw the ball. They've got to do it a little more effectively.
2nd down and 3, and the pitch comes to Campbell. And a fine play is made by Lauren Taves, number 51. Taves coming across to get him right at the shoe tops and throw him for a loss. Taves, who played at California, very versatile linebacker, now in his 10th year. Oh, it's going to be 3rd down and 3 from the 35-yard line.
Speaking of California, sometime we ought to talk about how they won yesterday.
Ooh, that was a wild finish in that game with Stanford. People all over the field. On 3rd and 3. Nielsen wants to put it up. Throws, and it is almost intercepted. A pass intended for Mike Holston. Wayne Woodruff again. They were working on him. He already has one interception. Almost came up with a second.
Well, he does play loose. He gives you certain things, but he will not give you that deep turn. He won't give you, when he's in a double zone, he's not going to give you the roll-up double zone. Now, Archie's sitting here observing all this, and I don't know, it allows one to use his own personality when you're in there calling your own plays. I'm sure Archie has picked out 4 or 5 plays that he knows and he will use if he is given an opportunity, but it's way too early. Nielsen's got to get something working, but I'm sure Schaffner, the offensive coordinator, will give him a chance.
The kick is away from Cliff Parsley. Woods downfield for Pittsburgh, and he goes down at the 30-yard line as Mike Holston, the wide receiver who also does an excellent job on the special teams, made the play. A 38-yard punt, a 3-yard return. We have 6:06 to play in this first quarter. Next Thursday, NBC Sports has saved a seat for you at their Thanksgiving Day table. Hope you'll enjoy NFL 82 with the latest news and insightful features. And then our special, the Cowboys battle the Browns. Exciting interconference matchup. It all begins at 3:30 Eastern Time on Turkey Day right here on NBC. First and 10 from the 31. Pollard out for the 35. Powers his way to the 39-yard line. Pollard has good speed outside. Brazil made the tackle, number 52. Tampa Bay has an early lead over Dallas, 3-0. No score here in the Dome. The Jets 10-0 over Baltimore in the first quarter. New Orleans leading Kansas City over in the Superdome. Second down and 1. Franco Harris, a first down. Out to the 45-yard for Darrell Hunt, the linebacker, number 50, made the play. One up score to report to you. Los Angeles and Atlanta. LA leading that one 14-0. First down at the 46-yard line. Bradshaw, who played at Louisiana Tech, now in his 13th year. Houston has sacked him over the years more than any other team. He completes this pass at the 49-yard line to Lynn Swann.
But a good play by Vernon Perry. Lynn Swann is playing the slot inside. He's getting good pass protection. Bradshaw's a quick 5-stepper. He's got Swann one-on-one with Perry. But when Swann made his break, he had to come straight back to the line of scrimmage, only gaining about 3 yards. That's good secondary coverage. I think this guy's as good a strong safety as there is in the game, and I'm surprised when anybody tries him.
It'll be 2nd and 6. Play action fake. They're trying to set up the screen. Batted down. Number 70, Malcolm Taylor, who is spelling Ken Kennard at left end. This is a rookie, 5th-round draft choice from Tennessee State, and he played it like a veteran, John.
Well, he played it like a veteran because he didn't rush as fast as here's Bingham. He's trying to get to Bradshaw. The whole house is trying to get in his lap. Bradshaw sees it. He anticipated it very well, but on a blitz, you do have to get it over the unrushing lineman. Taylor played it well, and for a rookie, I don't know whether it's lazy or smart. Sometimes you don't have to know. He did bat it down.
Jim Smith, 86, here is a wide receiver. 3 wide receivers for Pittsburgh, 3rd and 6. Bradshaw trying to throw between men and hit Lynn Swann, and they didn't connect. Ted Thompson, the inside linebacker, batting it away, and it's punting time again.
Just a very good play defensively by the linebacker. Thompson is a small, agile inside linebacker. He's made for the 3-man defensive line, and that's the kind of play he really is excellent on.
John Goodson to do the punting again. The rookie, averaging 41.2. Had some early season jitters. Puts this one up. Roaches downfield. Fair catch. And he gathered it in at the 17-yard line. There's a penalty marker down. Referee Dick Jorgensen talking things over. And it's going to be an illegal man downfield. That was a 33-yard punt. Ed Biles, outstanding defensive coach over the years, a disciplinarian. He was an assistant here for a long time, of course, to Bum Phillips.
And he's certainly going to take this penalty because with a kid like Roach's back there, you do have a chance to break a big one.
Ineligible downfield on the punt, number 54. Offense, still 4th down.
Oh, we'll do it again. Bingham was the man downfield, and this is a high driver here from the toe of Goodson, and it goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Well, that backs the Houston Oilers up. 3:50 left to play. First quarter, no score. There's the way it's going to be, the Super Bowl tournament. The pairings in each conference will be in the top bracket, 8th place at first, 5th place at 4th. In the lower bracket, 7th place at 2nd, 6th place at 3rd, and we'll play down till we get to and watch the Super Bowl right here on NBC.
It gives all those who didn't know if they could get into the playoffs a chance. So everybody's starting the season with an opportunity with 7 games to play to get into the playoffs and possibly win the Super Bowl.
Nielsen throwing out of his own end zone, overthrowing. Mike Holston down the sideline. Excellent coverage there by Dwayne Woodruff. They continue to work on Woodruff, but he's been up to the task, John.
Well, what he's done is he's just outsmarted them. When he's been in the double zone coverage, they've tried to throw the ball to the outside, and he picked one off. When they tried to beat him, he was back to the inside, ready to beat that deep curl. Okay, this time he was playing real loose, and nobody was going to run by him. But he will give you something on every play. It's up to the Oilers to take advantage of it. If they're going to play him one-on-one out there, he plays loose. They're going to have to take a lot of short outside stuff and be content with it.
Another long one downfield. Harold Bailey was all alone. Nobody there.
Well, I'll tell you where there are a couple of fellas is Ron Johnson down there with Mel Blount, and they are talking because that was nothing but a blown assignment, and Bailey ran all alone. This ball was thrown way too far, but in Nielsen's defense, he doesn't know it's a blown coverage. When he threw the ball, Blount and Bailey were pretty close together. It's the sort of thing that looks awful bad when you're running back to the huddle, but he had to make his decision before that time. Archie understands that, but he'd love to get in there.
The young man with the headsets there, familiar to you folks in the Mountain State of West Virginia, the former quarterback at West Virginia, Oliver Luck. 3rd and 10 at the 3. Armstrong to the 5-yard line, and you wonder about that call. You heard a huh from John Brody as Don Shell came up to make the play.
No, I don't wonder about it, Jay. It was like they've taken their shots. They tried to hit deep. They tried to get something moving. It didn't work. File it. Let's pick up what we can. Give our punter some room to kick the ball out of here. I think the decision that backfired on Eddie was the one to get them punting over.
Pittsburgh has put some pretty good pressure on Parsley here in the early going. Now let's see. He stands right at the edge of his end zone. Rick Woods downfield to receive this punt. Parsley gets it away. It is a relatively short kick. And coming up, taking it on the run is Rick Woods. And Woods goes down at the 33-yard line as Mike Holston again made the play.
Do you know how valuable a guy like Rick Woods is to your football team? He can make the difference between a good special team and a great one, as he did there.
Her name is Tunisia. She's a student. But 2 afternoons a week, she's got a job.
The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Some of the fans on hand here, a sellout crowd in the Astrodome. Church attendance picked up here in Houston during the strike. They did a survey about that.
A lot more people on the first tee at 8 o'clock Sunday morning, too.
You're right. 33-yard punt a moment ago, a 5-yard return. First down, Pittsburgh at the Houston 34. That's Pollard getting near the 30-yard line. Pulled back there, big number 67. Mike Stensrud, the middle guard, made the play. Pollard averaging 3.4. 47 yards rushing in the early going.
You know, Bert, the little things that people were concerned might affect drives have done so. You know, it's not the conditioning, it's the little coordinated movements that take place, and it takes a while to develop. The bad throws, the dropped routes, they have stopped drives up to here.
Hawthorne and Smith are in there, and here is another case of it right there. The pass intended for Calvin Sweeney, number 85, was in the game. Now we're seeing some substituting, John, the kind we expected, because Chuck Knoll has got Smith and Hawthorne and Sweeney in there on that play.
Sure, and how many times is Calvin Sweeney going to run a lazy route and Bradshaw going to miss him, throw it a little bit early? Now that's just not being together quite long enough. It does take some time to get these routes down.
Now we've got Smith, Swan, and Stallworth as the wide receivers. Benny Cunningham is back in at the tight end. 3rd and 7 at the 31. And a throw that was batted in the line of scrimmage. Let's get an update now as we go to New York for this information.
This is Mike Adamle in our New York studios. Well, the first touchdown of the NFL's second season was scored by the Jets at Shea. Watch number 24, Free McNeil. He breaks loose for 34 yards and all. The Jets lead the Colts 10-0 in the second quarter. Let's go back to Jay Randolph in the Astrodome.
Thank you, Mike Adamle. We're going to watch Gary Anderson, the free agent, 23-year-old rookie. They say he really has a strong leg. The ball will be spotted. Now we've got time called as the Steelers don't have enough people on the field and are going to call time. Well, I suppose that's a preseason mistake.
Of course. I mean, there's a lot of little things that go into organizing 49 people, getting into the right spot every time to get the ball into the end zone.
Quite a story here. Gary Anderson. He is from South Africa. His dad played soccer in England. He's a soccer player. Cool, confident young man. It was his 3 field goals that were the key to the victory over Dallas. A 40-yarder with 1 minute to play that was the clincher at Dallas. And the 42-yarder with 35 seconds left that tied the game with Cincinnati and allowed the Steelers to win it in overtime. They're very high on this young man. There's Chuck Knoll.
And you get a lot higher as they keep winning football games for you. This fellow also hit 18 out of 19 his senior year in college at Syracuse. So I don't think it's a good string. He's had a whole life full of it.
Going for his 6th straight. The ball will be spotted at the 38. 48-yarder. On the way. Plenty of foot. It's good. So, with 2:03 left to play in the first quarter, the Steelers get on the board. The field goal coming from Gary Anderson. Just 156 pounds, but he's solid, can boot it.
He generates some power into that ball. You can hear it clear up here.
That's the longest field goal of his young career. Chuck Knoll talking things over there with Wolfley. Knoll, of course, first NFL coach to win 4 Super Bowls. Cincinnati leading Philadelphia 3-0 in the first quarter. Getting set to kick off will be Anderson as Tampa Bay now leads Dallas 6-0. They're in the second quarter. Some interesting scores in the first afternoon of resuming play.
And after they get them all totaled up, somebody will have a philosophy as to why it all happened just exactly the way it did. And yet I don't think it'll form any direction. It's still football, and we're in for a lot more of it here.
Coming back downfield, it is Tullis. Takes it and brings it out at the 10, at the 15, still going, gets over the 20. A penalty marker thrown in there as Tullis got it to the 22-yard line. Brian Hinkle, number 53, made the stop. Oh, we'll see what the penalty call is as it came across the far side. A minute and 52 to play in the first quarter. Pittsburgh has taken the lead. There's Terry Bradshaw.
Sporting a new stash.
Yes, he is. Ed Biles.
5 yards.
to call. It goes against John Rogers. Nielsen is 3 out of 8 for 24 yards this afternoon. Brings them out 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. Nielsen rolling out and throwing, and it is taken at the 41-yard line, and they call it a completion. Harold Bailey, now a penalty marker goes down. Woodruff again was the man they were working on, and a penalty went down. Penalty marker down on the play, and it's going to be a roughness call against Pittsburgh.
And you can see that the whole plan was to find different ways to move against Woodruff out of here on the left corner. This time Nielsen went straight back into a drop, but he rolled out and it was predetermined, trying to get him a better angle so he wouldn't have to throw it.
Roughness, number 51, defense, first down.
So he wouldn't have to throw it right through Ham. He had a much better angle to throw the ball. As he comes out, you see it takes down the angle that Ham has to get in the way of the throw. Not a very well thrown ball, but nobody in between it. Bailey takes it down easily.
The call going against Lauren Taves, and it is a first down at the 44-yard line of the Steelers for Houston. Steelers leading 3-0. High formation. And a give to Campbell. Campbell down to the 40-yard line. Robin Cole, the right linebacker, number 56 on the tackle. Earl Campbell's first carry, the 77 Heisman Trophy winner. Tyler, Texas, and the University of Texas. The AFC's top rusher the past 4 years. The NFL's top rusher for 3 of those 4 years.
I think if any defensive back had his druthers, he'd rather not have it be tackling him.
2nd and 6. 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Nielsen steps up, and it's incomplete. Was going for the tight end, Dave Casper. Nielsen, as you mentioned a moment ago, did not make a very good throw. There was another one where he didn't make a good throw. I've not seen him for a while, John, but he seems to be throwing more sidearm than I can remember.
Well, his motion and delivery does come a bit from the side, but he is a pretty accurate thrower. He's not a strong arm thrower. Right now, it's the little things that keep the ball from being complete, particularly on that play. As Casper started to get through, the linebacker just gave him a bump a little, held him up instead of catching the ball on the dead run. It was almost picked off. And those are the little things that we're going to see a lot of.
3rd down and 6. Nielsen throwing, and he throws behind his intended receiver, Harold Bailey. The coverage again by Dwayne Woodruff. And it's going to be Cliff Parsley who will come on to do the punting.
I think the thing you'll notice about Nielsen that I think is not a plus point is when he makes a decision to throw the ball, it takes him a little bit longer than it takes the Stablers, the Bradshaws, the Sipes, the top quarterbacks, the Fouts. When he makes his decision to throw, he winds up. It looks like he takes an extra step. That tells the defenders the ball is coming just a little bit longer, and I think it hurts his productiveness.
Nielsen is now in his 5th season. Parsley came here in a trade from New Orleans, angling for the far sideline, and he gets it out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Nice punt by Parsley, and the Steelers will take over on their own 11-yard line, leading this game 3-0 with 43 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 29-yard punt.
In a 48-minute first quarter. I'll tell you, you can tell it's a little sloppy when people are throwing the ball all over the field and nothing seems to be hitting the wall. It takes 48 minutes to play a quarter.
It was the longest strike in professional sports history. The one we just came through. A lot of games lost. 112, 14 of those to be made up. First and 10 at the 12-yard line. Harris getting to the 15-yard line. Franco, the all-time rushing attempt leader in the National Football League. Elvin Bethea, big number 65 in there now at right end. The 16-year veteran, along with Robert Brazil, 52, made the tackle.
And Elvin wanted something clarified for all those people listening. He said, I did not say I'm quitting the Players Association. I am not quitting as a player representative, and I am quitting the game at the end of the year, and so obviously I won't be the ref any longer, but that straightens it out.
He's been a great one. On 2nd and 7, and is complete. Benny Cunningham, the tight end, the first down all the way at the 40-yard line.
Well, that ball was as well thrown as any ball could be thrown. And Cunningham knew he was in between 4 players. He got that baby, cradled it so nobody was going to get it away, and they've got out of a hole.
It's 3-0 Steelers.
In the world of action watches, trust Seiko.
Some of the fans voicing their opinions here in the Astrodome. That was a 28-yard pass a few moments ago as Bradshaw put it on consignment to Cunningham. He is now 4 of 11 for 52 yards. As we start the second period of play, 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line for Pittsburgh. Steelers have 64 yards gained. Oilers 43. Bradshaw throwing and almost grabbed by Brazil. He got a hand on it. If he hadn't have been backpedaling, he might have come away with it. An outstanding play by Brazil. Calvin Sweeney, number 85, the intended receiver.
Jay, the man is unbelievable. He was sitting in a position to take anything short, got back and busted up the play. But you can see he's got to be active because this offensive line gives Bradshaw just as much time as he needs. That gives him an opportunity to catch people behind linebackers. It forces the linebackers to drop 5 or 6 yards deeper, and it just makes their task almost impossible.
We're seeing some good linebackers in this one this afternoon.
They better be.
Yes, sir. 2nd and 10. Bradshaw again wants to go up. Beat the blitz. Throws incomplete. Bradshaw ducked under the blitz. Carter Hartwig was coming. Greg Bingham was coming. The coverage by Brazil on the pass as it was intended for Jim Smith, and Bradshaw really did an excellent job of getting
There's
away.
a guy that did an excellent job is Carter Hartwig, too. Now, they missed him coming underneath. That's a Bradshaw that, you can't teach that move. What do you do? Whoops, good luck, Greg, but I'm leaving. He takes the ball, but Hartwig is one-on-one. That's where you gain that respect for those defensive backs. They got a man all over the field. They just get aggressive and see what comes out, and that was a good play.
Steelers lead 3-0. Both teams with 3 first downs. It is 3rd and 10 from the 43 for the Steelers. Bradshaw over the middle, got a man. There he is. Jim Smith, first down at the 21-yard line. Carter Hartwig made the tackle, but Smith, the 6th-year man from Michigan, a 36-yard play.
And they had him double-teamed. He does beat Vernon Perry in a one-on-one situation, gets just enough for Bradshaw to hit him. They're keeping a free safety back there, even though they're trying to put pressure on Bradshaw, but he didn't get into the play quick enough. As good as Hartwig made a play the last one, that was a little tentative.
Smith had some headache problems earlier in the year. He gave the Oilers a headache with that one. 1st and 10 at the 22. His way down to the 17-yard line. We get some bad news about the Oilers' very talented rookie, Mike Munchak. A cracked bone in his left ankle. He will be out at least 3 weeks.
Well, as little work as he's done in the last, all year. I mean, he did a little in training camp, but I think you can kiss him off for the rest of the year.
It's a tough one.
If his bone is broken, for him to work out, it'll be, this season is history.
Harris has carried the ball 5 times for 15 yards. 2nd down and 6. Bradshaw throws complete, and it's a touchdown to Greg Hawthorne. Hawthorne, the 4-year man from Baylor, found a home as a wide receiver, didn't he, John Brody?
Well, what he is they've known he's a multi-purpose running back that can run all types of patterns. That was a beautiful pattern. It was a one-on-one situation. He got on J.C. Wilson, who is a cornerback. But look, he cuts to the inside. He's a big target, makes a perfect break. Bradshaw hits him just as he does so. He's an easy man to hit with great breakaway running ability. He's going to be used more and more and more in the years to come.
17-yard touchdown pass, Bradshaw's 200th of his career. The 11th player in NFL history to do that. A 17-yarder from Bradshaw to Greg Hawthorne.
It's got to feel good to be able to contribute because a lot had been expected of him, and he really wasn't able to contribute the way he'd liked the last couple of years, and they're using him a little differently, and I think a little better.
Gary Anderson out of the hold of Rick Woods. Kicks the point after. 13-14 remaining to be played in the first half. Here in the Astrodome, 10-0 Steelers. Terry Bradshaw.
Just a beautifully thrown ball on a defensive back. It's not the perfect matchup, but anytime you can get a one-on-one situation with number 27, I'd try it.
Bradshaw was off to his finest start ever. Anderson booming this kickoff into the end zone. Tullis will not run it out. It'll come to the 20 where we'll begin play with Houston down 10-0. In preseason, the Oilers were 2-2. They won from New Orleans and Tampa Bay, lost to the Jets in Dallas. There's the Pittsburgh scoring drive. The Steelers 4-0 in preseason. They have actually won 6 straight now.
That's what John Kolb said. He said, as a coach, I'm 6-0. He says, played 15 years of offensive line to coach the defense.
This is the 27th meeting between the Oilers and the Steelers. The Steelers have won 18 and lost 8. First down from the 20. Nielsen rolling to the near sideline. And he comes out across the 25-yard line. He realized, John, he was in no man's land.
Yeah, well, no man's land is across the line of scrimmage. If he'd thrown that ball, it would have been thrown a forward pass thrown across the line.
That's right. Robin Cole, 56, and Goodman, 95 on the tackle. And look here at George Reiner spelling Munchak.
That's right. Both from Penn State. This is a third-year guard. He's going to be playing a lot for the rest of the year. Has played a little bit in his first 2 years, but it's going to be a tough time. You don't just jump in and start playing because Munchak's played all through the preseason, the first 2 games, and this is his first action, really, for Reiner. And
a little draw going to Earl Campbell. Campbell down to the 40. And he almost lost the ball as he got dumped by Donnie Shell. But a fine run by Earl Campbell. First down. Campbell picks up 16 here.
And he'll pick up a lot more on draw plays over the years as they start throwing the ball a little more, and they might have thrown it a little more than they needed to so far today. I think they're going to find that Campbell can pick up the easy yards, the extra 10 on draw plays and screens and things of that nature. He'll break a lot of draw plays. And I think they'll use that play more and more.
Campbell, 23 yards on 4 carries. Nielsen throwing and completing to the tight end, Casper, across the 50 and a first down to the 46-yard line. Giff was going to run again. He looked up, he saw Casper as he was going down and said, here. And it's a first down. Jack Ham, 59, made the tackle.
They need that kind of a play to get them loose, get them with it. They've tried to throw the ball. They haven't done it effectively, partly because Pittsburgh's played good defense, partly because they've been ineffective. Jack Lambert trying to get close to the line of scrimmage, get some sort of pursuit on the quarterback. He gets picked up easy by the fullback. Nielsen runs through a hole that shows itself and completes the ball.
First and 10 at the 45-yard line. The pitch comes to Campbell. Campbell out of bounds. He might have gotten the yard. They strung it out over there, and it was Ron Johnson who banged him out of bounds. And a penalty marker down. Referee today, Dick Jorgensen and his crew, they're talking it over. A personal foul is indicated. That'll upset Ed Biles a little bit. Biles coached under Weed Eubank when he was an assistant with the Jets. Worked here with Sid Gilman, and then later on, of course, Bub Phillips.
Ed knows the heat's on here in Houston. They're used to playing good football, and they weren't necessarily playing well before the strike. They didn't play well last year for their ability levels, and they've got to play well throughout the remainder of the season.
The call goes against Morris Towns. Big Mo out of Missouri, the number 1 draft choice back in '77, and Biles talking there with one of the officials.
I think he's just talking at him.
It'll be first down 26. 10:53 left in the first half. The Steelers leading 10-0. Nielsen straight back, throwing over the middle, and the pass is a little low for Adger Armstrong there at the 42-yard line, and he couldn't come up with it.
Adger Armstrong was in a bind. He came open as soon as he got past the line of scrimmage. He knew the play took him across the middle, but there was a man waiting. He got caught. He didn't know whether to stop, turn around, look for the ball, or what, and as a result, their communication broke down and nothing happened. That's happened a lot to him.
Robin Cole and Bob Coors did a good job of pressuring Nick Gifford Nielsen. We've seen, of course, Archie Manning along the sidelines. There he is again, and we may be seeing him sooner than you might expect. Nielsen having a little tough go here.
We'll discuss that.
The 25-yard line. Coors again put good pressure on. Looked like maybe Jack Ham got a hand on it also.
Let me say this. They have stated very simply that Gifford Nielsen is the quarterback. We see him having to scramble here because he's been getting a pretty good rush. We see Coors forcing him out of the pocket. He finally breaks loose, but there's no one open, and that's been the case quite a bit today. But you know that they didn't get Archie Manning and pay him the salary they paid him from New Orleans, who's played 11 years. He spent a lot of time making a bad ball club look pretty good on occasion. They didn't get him to sit him on the bench. So if things go bad the rest of the afternoon, I think you'll see him in there and the rest of the year. He's a great player, and he's finally got a chance to be with a good team. I think he'll be playing.
Steelers in the prevent defense, but Earl Campbell gets the call, and he gets it out to the 50-yard line. It's short of the first down by about 14 yards. Dwayne Woodruff making the tackle, and the Oilers will have to punt. Let's pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WPXI, the news station.
Campbell picked up 11 on that last play as Pittsburgh leads it 10-0. Cliff Parsley, who's been a busy gentleman in the first half. That's Rick Woods set to receive.
And he is good.
You like Woods, don't you?
Yes, sir. When you get a man that can catch the ball, he plays like a center fielder. That ball is not going to hit the ground if he can get his hands on it. That's worth gold in tight games.
Woods from Boise State led the Big Sky in punt returns. He's going to let this one go, and wisely so. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line, a 51-yard punt. The Steelers 10, the Oilers nothing. We'll be back with more right after these messages. The NFL's back in business, and stay with us at halftime. NFL 82 will bring you up to date on all the action. The Derek Dolls, speaking of action, there they are. Sidney Thornton and Russell Davis are now in the backfield. Thornton missed the first 2 games with a hamstring. Here's the throw to the tight end. Cunningham open again. First down. He hurdled one man all the way out to the 43-yard line for Cunningham. Darrell Hunt made the stop. Cunningham out of Clemson, picking up 23 yards on the play. Number 1 draft choice in '76. And John, the plan for the Steelers now is to throw more to the backs and the tight end than they used to.
Well, they've got people there. The game kind of calls for it. When you can't hit the receiver once he gets 5 yards down the field, the linebackers are going to be playing deeper. That allows the backs to be in complement with the receivers and be open a lot more. You've got to use all your receivers right now, and they've got the personnel to do that.
From the 43-yard line, first down, swinging it out to Russell Davis, and Davis steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Avon Riley, number 53, the linebacker over there. Davis Spent his first year on injured reserve. Looked very sharp here.
They didn't draft him because they knew he'd be good catching the football, because he went to Michigan and they've only thrown it 3 times in the last 4 or 5 years.
That's right. He's supposed to be a short yardage specialist.
But he can do. He's a dexterous fella too.
First down at the 46-yard line. Steelers leading 10-0.
We've got a one-on-one situation at the corners.
And the throw comes to Sidney Thornton. And Sidney gets to the 42-yard line as Greg Bingham, the linebacker, came up to make the play.
You know, that really puts a linebacker in a bind. What does a quarterback know when the corners are playing up, they're man-to-man? It puts the linebackers man-to-man on the halfback, so you'd love to come to him if you get a shot. It's a very tough job for a linebacker playing the inside to be man-to-man on one of those running backs that can run like a Sidney Thornton or a Russell Davis, and every time you get the chance, throw him one.
Saw Bingham there, 19 career interceptions. He had a hip injury in the 3rd preseason game. Been the top tackler for Houston. 2nd and 6 as they yell defense here in the Astrodome. And Bradshaw completes it. Down it goes to number 88, Lynn Swan. And Swan got up and got a few more. It was Vernon Perry who finally stopped him, but it's a first down at the 30-yard line. How many times we've seen Swan make the big play, and that time he was alert to the fact that the play was still alive.
Well, yes, and it's not something that a receiver likes to see happen. He hates to see himself on the ground with the play still alive because he's got to get up, and he doesn't know where it's coming from.
7.5 to go in the first half. Steelers 10-0. Bradshaw rolled right, looks left.
To get back.
I better hurry. And a penalty marker down as the pass went for Sidney Thornton. Coverage by Ted Washington, the linebacker, number 59, and we'll let the officials unravel this one as the flag was thrown inside the 5-yard line.
You know who's getting ragged? That defensive line for Houston as Bradshaw runs around, throwing the ball on most every down, and completing enough to where he keeps his drives alive. These guys are in there for 12 plays, running him all over the field, and they haven't done that in 12 weeks.
Flag was thrown for illegal contact down near the goal line. The quarterback was out of the pocket, so therefore we have no foul. No foul.
All right. They unraveled it, and we have no foul. Jorgensen explaining that quarterback was out of the pocket, and although you saw the flag there, the contact must have happened just shortly before that. Oh, it's going to be 2nd down and 10 at the 29-yard line. Chuck Noll went to work for Don Shula of Baltimore when he came to the National Football League. He had a job, of course, too, with the L.A. Chargers, who were then later to become San Diego.
62 LD. I don't know what it is, but I know that it is. Some kind of pass.
Bradshaw intercepted. It is Greg Bingham. Bingham back to the 30-yard line. The 20th career interception for Greg Bingham, the 10-year man from Purdue, and they like it here in the Dome. And that is the first interception in a long, long time for Terry Bradshaw.
I know for 1982 because he didn't throw any in the first 2 games of the season.
He had thrown 101 passes in a row without an interception. And then the ones here today. Injured Robert Brazil. Brazil, the linebacker. Or is it Ken Kennard? No, it's Brazil. Oh, we'll come back with 7:10 to play in the first half. The Steelers have the lead.
This is...
With John Brody, Jay Randolph. Earlier today, Bradshaw threw his 200th career touchdown pass. Now he's evened it up, John Brody, 200th interception.
Well, it's nice. I'll tell you, if you're around long enough to throw 200 interceptions, you've thrown a lot of touchdowns. And I think he may just jump in and beat everybody before he's through because his team is good right now. He's at the top of his game, and he can play another 6 or 7 years.
Gifford Nielsen throwing, and it's Earl Campbell, and Campbell fights his way to the 40-yard line. Dwayne Woodruff, number 49, again over there to make the play, just short of a first down. Pickup of about 9.
There's no doubt they want to hit it in the right flat area. If they pick the right play, Woodruff will give them something. He's not going to give them too much. Take something away, give them something else. That was Ham's play, actually. Boy, I'd like to have Earl Campbell with the ball in the open field a lot more than he's getting it today, and I think they'll find that out as the season progresses.
Campbell, in 8 career regular season games against Pittsburgh, has averaged 3.4 carries, or per carry. Here he goes, gets to the 40-yard line, and it looks like he's got the first down as they get him to the 41. First down for Houston. Robin Cole, number 56, and John Goodman, number 95, on the tackle. The Steelers have 172 total yards, the Oilers 98. 6 first downs now in the game for the Oilers, 8 for the Steelers, 6.5 to go in the first half. Steelers leading 10-0. Renfro 82 and Smith 83 are the wide receivers. Nielsen play action fake. Throws complete to the tight end Casper. Casper to the 44-yard line. And he is met there by Jack Ham and Dwayne Woodruff. Pickup of about 3 on the play.
Well, 3 is better than nothing, but the play actually did not come off successfully. He wanted to go to Mike Renfro, number 82, but he couldn't get to him because they were in a defense that kind of precluded them from ever going into the left zone. He came off to Casper just in time.
We get word that Brazil, who was shaken up, is all right. He'll be back in. And Houston next has to go on defense. Second down and 8 at the 44. Nielsen in a rush, gets it out to Campbell. Campbell at the 50, down to the 45.
That's what we're talking about. Get that man the ball. Get the defense loosened up a little bit and get the ball to Earl Campbell out in the flats with screens and draws.
Tom Beasley, number 65, made the play. 15-yard pickup.
Well, they've been putting a good rush. You see they're putting all their attention right now. Here's Merriweather, 57, getting to Nielsen. He should be out here in the flat. It's a well-deceived screen and picks up a first down, and this is the first drive that Houston has really put together of any merit. And let's see if Nielsen can keep it together.
Clock running with 4:50 to play in the first half. Nielsen throwing for Campbell. Dropped the ball. Earl tried to turn upfield, and the ball went the other way at the 42-yard line. Woodruff over there in the zone again. John, you indicate, then obviously this is the plan. Houston going to go to their big guy, Campbell, and try to, as you said, loosen things up a little bit. Campbell now sitting things out. There's Archie Manning, the young quarterback from West Virginia there, number 10, Oliver Luck. Stanley Edwards, the rookie from Michigan, is into the game now, number 35, working with Adger Armstrong. You're in the Astrodome. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you are this afternoon. Steelers leading 10-0.
Here comes Donnie Shell. Here he comes.
Throw over the middle. Casper has a first down at the 31-yard line.
Beautifully picked up by Nielsen. I could see the Shell was coming. He was trying to fool him, and he was trying to look like he was making it a double zone coverage, but he was a free safety blitzer. Whenever that happens, it put Casper one-on-one on the strong safety. Nielsen is a little play action, coming to Casper the whole way. There's no linebackers in the area. Hits him for a first down. That's good pickup by a quarterback.
Picked up an even dozen Cousin on the play. And the ball is down at the 31-yard line, and the Oilers have something going. Casper is out of the game and replaced by Tim Wilson, number 89.
The ex-fullback.
Somebody told me he had strike insurance. You believe that? He went out and got it himself. Here is Earl Campbell inside the 25, down to the 23. Ron Johnson, the free safety, made the stop, number 29. And this has been a fine drive for Houston.
Excellent drive. It's the way you can see it from up here. You can see what's working. You can see that the plays they're calling are the ones that are open right now. It's the first drive during the game that has looked that way. Sometimes a quarterback can sit in there for a quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden he gets the understanding of what's there, calls it properly, gets them on the go, and they're effective. It looks like that's what happened.
send Renfro out wide to the right. Smith set to the left side.
And Woodruff is giving him a lot of room out on the right.
2nd and 3. Nielsen throws complete to Armstrong. Penalty marker down. The gain is to the 15-yard line, but let's see if the play will last. Merriweather, the rookie linebacker from Pacific, made the tackle. Holding against Pittsburgh. Chuck Noll looking out at this scene. A big crowd, a sellout here.
Number 59, defense, decline.
A call against Jack Ham. It is declined. It's a first down. The ball just inside the 15-yard line. 2 minutes, 59 seconds remaining in the first half. And the Oilers now have 143 total yards gained, as this has been a most impressive drive. Oilers just picked up their 9th first down. Nielsen throwing for... It was Adger Armstrong, a beautiful throw. I thought he might hold it. I was blocked just for a minute, John, screened out as Jack Ham had the coverage.
What he did beautifully was he didn't give away the fact that Nielsen had thrown him the ball. He waited. He didn't let Ham see that the ball was coming to him. When he did put up his hands, he did it in so swiftly that he dropped the ball. But you can see here, he's not letting him know. As a matter of fact, he never got his hands up in time, and it went right through.
Brian Hinkle replaces Jack Ham at linebacker. 2 wide receivers go to the right side. 2nd down and 10. Nielsen asks for quiet. Ball at the 14-yard line. It's Campbell bouncing off, cutting back to the outside and getting back to the line of scrimmage, and he did well to do that, as it was Hinkle who just came into the game, the linebacker coming up to make the stop. Also there, number 95, John Goodman. Good look at Goodman there. He played at Oklahoma. We'll have either Oklahoma or Nebraska in the Orange Bowl game. They're going to get together next Friday, and will that be a head knocker?
And I do believe that LSU is going to find itself invited to that bowl, as they took care of Florida State pretty handily yesterday.
Indeed.
That's tough to do to Bobby Bowden.
Jerry Stovall has done a marvelous job at Baton Rouge. Here is 3rd and 10. With all kinds of time, the ball bounced around. Looked like somebody got a hand on it, deflected it away. Woodruff almost came away with the interception.
I think somebody hit it at the line of scrimmage before the ball got past the line, because that ball was 5 yards astray. And
get a chance now to look at Florian Kemp, the first-year man from the University of Pennsylvania, the alma mater of our director, Andy Rosenberg. Kemp went through 2.5 weeks of drills in preseason, never missed a field goal from anywhere, and chased Tony Fritsch. He's 1 for 1 in the field goal department, has a 24-yarder. Young man whose parents were born in Germany. He had tryouts with the Eagles and the Patriots before latching on here. Florian Kemp. Watch him crouch down. Nielsen will hold. The ball will be spotted at the 21. 31-yarder on the way. And Houston is on the board. Pittsburgh. 1 minute and 58 seconds left to go in the first half. The Steelers 10 and the Oilers 3. And you get the feeling after that drive by the Oilers that we may have a very interesting second half. With John Brody, this is Jay Randolph in the Dome, Houston, Texas. And they're singing the song, Houston Oilers, as they're on the board. It's 10-3.
Well, they're not all standing in their seats. We see an occasional gent standing up, but the excitement level has gone down in the city of Houston over the past year or so, and I think they need something to perk it up. Now, whether it'll be Archie Manning, Gifford Nielsen, Campbell, whoever, somebody has to take over around here and bring them up to the level that they were accustomed to playing, because 2 years ago, everyone was excited about the Oilers.
Florian Kemp will kick off. You see, it took him 12 plays to go 55 yards for Kemp to kick the 31-yard field goal. played in the Canadian Football League and signed on as a free agent is deep, but he's not going to get the football. Ernest French is. French over the 25 to the 30. French out to the 37-yard line on the return. French, a rookie from Alabama A&M, where John Stallworth went to school. Mike Holston, number 84, making the stop. Bradshaw now. We will go to the 2-minute offense with a minute and 52 to go.
We haven't seen Franco featured much today. I expect him to be getting the call, whether it be on a swing pass, a few draws, or what have you. They've got plenty of time with a minute and 52 seconds to go, and I've seen Terry come off interceptions and start with Franco, and that's a pretty good place to start, get everything settled down.
Taylor 70 and Bethea 65 are now at the ends. Corker 57 into the linebacker spot. Skogstad is also in at middle guards. A pass comes right out to Franco Harris, and John Brody called it. They're going to go to the big guy from Penn State in his 11th year. Bingham, number 54 on the tackle. Clock running with a minute and 37 seconds to go.
He hasn't been too bad for Terry over the last 10 years. I think if when you get in tight situations with little time left, I like 32 in there, and I'm sure Terry feels the same way.
Bradshaw swinging it out again, and it's Harris. Cuts it up to the 45, just short of a first down, and again, Bingham makes the tackle. You see that Franco leads the AFC in receiving. Oh, we have a minute and 17 to play. A timeout. The Steelers 10-3 over the Oilers.
Some things speak for themselves.
The Mercedes-Benz dynasty of 3-liter automobiles, world champion race cars, classic sports cars, elegant personal cars. Now, Mercedes-Benz gives you 3-liter performance in this car, the 300D turbo diesel sedan. 3 liters of power so far beyond the ordinary that it outperforms every other diesel in America, if not the world. The 300D turbo diesel. The dynasty lives on.
NFL 82 coming up for you at halftime. At halftime, when the Houston Oilers talk it over, will they send Nielsen back out in the second half or not?
I'm sure they'll talk that over.
We've got Russell Davis, 45, and Sidney Thornton, 38 in the backfield. Ed Biles, the head man of the Oilers. 3rd and 2 at the 45-yard line. Play action. Bradshaw throwing and incomplete. And he was gone for Ray Penny, who was eligible on the play. Penny not yet home in Houston, Texas. The Steelers leading the Oilers 10-3 as we get set for the second half. The Steelers of Chuck Noll coming in here today 2-0. And a victory here this afternoon would certainly give them a giant step forward to getting to the Super Bowl tournament, which will qualify the top 8 teams in the conferences. Let's take a look at the only touchdown in this game. A 17-yard pass, the 200th touchdown of his career, Terry Bradshaw. And it went to Greg Hawthorne. John?
And it was one of the few bright plays, well executed plays in the half. Obviously, it was a very sloppy half just by length of time and scarcity of points. But on this one, Hawthorne got man-to-man with J.C. Wilson, ran it into the end zone, and it looked like Bradshaw throwing his 200th touchdown was off and running. In the latter part of the half, however, he threw his first 2 interceptions of 1982, and neither offense is really dominated. Both have moved the ball, but the little things, the things you kind of expected to happen, did happen, and Gifford Nielsen had a lot of negative things happen to him in the first half. Threw 27 balls, completed 12 for 128 yards with a couple interceptions, but nothing ever looks sustained. This man, Archie Manning, was warming up. He's done a few stretching exercises, but I get the feeling that Gifford's going when the ball comes back to Houston. Otherwise, well, we'll just see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Manning standing on the fringe there as we get set to go. total yardage, the Steelers 189 yards, the Oilers 173. The Oilers had 2 more first downs, 10-8. As we look at Terry Bradshaw, 22 attempts, 11 completions, a couple of interceptions, the touchdown.
And let's take a look at the fact also that they didn't have a chance to look at game films, which might have given them a better opportunity to plan against specific individuals defensively. And you've seen both teams in defenses that are rather basic, blitzing on occasion. And until you see the same picture time and time again, it's really hard to react to it naturally. There's a little thought process that goes on, and it's just long enough to get you beat.
Well, a challenge for the players to come back certainly after the strike, and the same is true, I think, for the coaching staffs. Anderson kicking off to start the second half. That's Carl Roaches at the goal line, out to the 10. Gets outside at the 20. And steps out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Anthony Washington, number 42, the cornerback, running him out. One of the Steelers shaken up. Ernest French on the field as we look at it again.
And Roaches almost gets out again, but Washington in good pursuit. Second-year man out of Fresno State. One of those 6'3", 190-pound secondary players for Pittsburgh.
There's Ernest French, shaken up. As I mentioned earlier, he is from Alabama A&M, same school that Stallworth went to, and this fellow was a real long shot. Plays on the specialty teams almost exclusively. The problem seems to be in the lower leg area there as they
It's not
work
a cramp.
on him.
It is not a cramp. That's bad.
I will set this offense for you as we start the second half. This is the way it began. Nielsen, Armstrong, and Campbell in the backfield. Bailey, Casper, and Holston. And the Houston line. Mike Munchak is gone, of course. The injury to his left ankle, a cracked bone. He'll be out at least 3 weeks. And as John Brody mentioned earlier, probably for this shortened season. He's been replaced by George Reiner. Chuck Knoll looking out as his player is being attended to. Defensively, Goodman, Dunn, and Beasley. Ham, Taves, Lambert, and Cole. Woodruff, Blunt, Shell, and Johnson.
We noticed that Jack Lambert hasn't been the dominant figure defensively that he normally is. And I think a lot of that has to be laid to the fact that it is a 3-man defensive line.
Taken away a little bit.
Most of the middle linebackers that really dominate are using that 4-man down front because it protects the middle linebacker from being hit by guards and tackles. And he's the man that everyone is geared to getting in a position to make the tackle defensively. Now, Lambert's sacrificing a lot by being one of the middlemen in the 3-man line. He's still being effective, but he's not the dominant figure.
Ernest French, the rookie from Alabama A&M, coming off, had 22 interceptions in his college career. And he gets a hand here as we're ready to put it in play at the 25-yard line. First down from the 25. Nielsen still there at the quarterback slot, throwing and completing it to Casper, close to a first down at the 35-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. Jack Lambert made the play. Lambert, you were talking about earlier, John, as we look at this again, he had an ankle problem early, but he's okay now.
And I tell you, if I have a guy I want to go to in a tough situation, it's Dave Casper. He's got an uncanny ability to get in between linebackers. He can find you a hole so that you can find a late layoff just about 100% of the time.
He caught 3 touchdowns in the win, the final game of last year here when Houston beat the Steelers on 2nd and 1. Earl Campbell. First down at the 37-yard line. The Tyler Rose picks it up. Jack Ham, number 59, on the tackle.
We have not seen any of the I formation today. Remember, that's the formation that Houston was most effective running the football with Earl Campbell. They don't use it because it doesn't give them a good opportunity to throw the ball around the infield when you have those two running backs standing right behind the center. But it's not as good for Earl. Now you see him in the I formation.
On 1st and 10 from the 38. Nielsen again wants to throw, whips it out, and Campbell, they call it an incomplete pass. It was very close to being a lateral, as Campbell just seemed to have the legs go out from under him as he wanted to make the catch. He's hurting a little.
Well, he went to stop and he planted his right foot. It looked like his foot went out from under him. The ball went straight. Almost hit him in the head.
Earl says he's all right. They want
a little embarrassed.
There's Manning and young Oliver Luck there on the right.
You got to be a little lighthearted in this game. That will get a few chuckles in particularly if they happen to come on and win. In the movie, that'll get a few laughs.
On 2nd and 10, Campbell right back across the 40 to the 42. Jack Ham, number 59 on the tackle. We've isolated on this great 12-year veteran.
Well, Jack Ham is quick to react. This is a blitz all the way. They find a little crack. Ham isn't going to be fooled for long. Gets back into the play and holds it to about a 4-yard gain.
Woods comes into the secondary as Taves comes out. They go to the nickel defense to the Steelers. 3rd down and 6 coming. Harold Bailey coming to the near side along with Mike Holston. The two wide receivers set left.
I know they would like to go to Casper. Looks like a blitz.
And the throw is to Casper. Almost broken away. At midfield, Ron Johnson, number 29, was the man that made the tackle. He just got held up momentarily at midfield, or he might have been able to go all the way. I don't know. Somebody got just a piece of him at the 50.
Well, when you talk about Dave Casper going all the way, you've got to have a lot of people fall down, but he certainly had the first down.
That's right.
And they're trying to get to him whenever they get a one-on-one situation. I mentioned before the snap they would like to go to Casper just by formation. They gave him a one-on-one situation. He'll beat one guy every time.
It was a pickup of 13. It was Woodruff who really helped to make the play as he got a hand on him and allowed Johnson to then make the tackle. Fake draw, throw over the middle. Holston. And now they call it an incomplete pass. Ron Johnson, there he is. You can see he stuck his head in there and made the play because Holston appeared to have it in good shape for a first down.
And those are the things when a coach sees how well a kid can run, catch the ball. You don't know how well he's going to react when they throw it to him over the middle, as they threw it to Holston that time. He's a young player. He hasn't had a lot of experience. But when you talk about the Lynn Swans and the John Stallworths, and you talk about your receivers in their caliber of play, you got to wait to see how they handle those balls over the middle.
2nd down and 10. Earl Campbell, a yard at best.
Johnny Goodman.
Goodman and Beasley, 95 and 65, converging over there. There goes Ernest French, the rookie from Alabama A&M. They're taking him to the dressing room. French. He was a long shot to make this team, did make it. Ball now at the 45-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3rd down and 10. A precautionary x-ray to be taken of French's left leg. Houston lost Mike Munchak with a cracked left ankle. And we had a whistle just as the ball was snapped.
Looked like the 30-second clock ran out, Jay, and if that happened, those 15-yard passes are a whole lot harder to complete than those 10.
Indeed, indeed. Ed Biles along the sidelines looking out. Let's pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WPXI, the news station.
It was a delay of game penalty, 3rd and 15 at midfield. Pittsburgh leads it 10-3. across the line. Yep.
No doubt about that.
Free throw. Casper at the 25 to the 20. Donnie Shell on the tackle, but they had a free play and made it work.
And Gifford Nielsen threw a beautiful ball. That ball, he hung in there, waited for Casper to get in between the linebackers, put the ball right where it had to be thrown. Just a beautiful throw.
A pickup of 30 yards.
Offsides, number 56, defense. Decline, first down.
Couple of nice throws. Let's take a look at the secondary. You can see that what Nielsen had to do as we watch Goodman try to get back on side, and that happened to be Robin Cole. Here's in the top of your picture, here's Dave Casper coming clear from the right side behind the linebackers. Now he's got to throw the ball perfectly because there was nobody taking the deep secondary out of the play. He did throw it perfectly. They pick up the first down, and they've got 1st and 10 inside the 20. You can play bad for a long time if you don't let the other team score much and still win a football game. They're only 7 back.
Tim Wilson, number 89, is now the tight end for the Oilers. Campbell cuts it back in, and he gets down to about the 17-yard line before Jack Lambert comes up to stall him.
This is the type of play that Earl Campbell runs so well. Everybody get a piece of the defensive. The defensive line and linebackers let Earl Campbell pick his hole. Looked like nothing was there. He still picked up 3.
Earl, who already has 56 career touchdowns, just in his 5th year here. The ball is at the 16, where it's 2nd and 7. Wide receiver set to the right side. Campbell to the outside. Campbell to the 10. Very close to the first down. Donnie Shell, the strong safety, rode him down with help from Jack Lambert, 59. And it is a first down.
Tell you, when Earl Campbell gets the ball in that position, and you can see they closed in trying to make a big play. He slipped to the outside with outstanding speed at his size. There's no telling how great he might be when the game opens up a little offensive-wise. Now, I know Jack Ham doesn't love the opportunity to tackle Campbell one-on-one, and glad to get the help from Shell.
61 yards on 13 carries for Campbell. 1st and goal to go. The ball just inside the 10-yard line. Nielsen throwing. Going for Mike Holston. Woodruff on the coverage. Catch made, but he was out of bounds.
Yeah, he caught it, but he didn't have enough room. Now you can see they're blitzing Gifford Nielsen. They've got his tempo down, but that still puts it one-on-one. Give credit to Woodruff. They've tried to pick on him all day long. Holston did not come down with his feet inbounds. Just didn't have enough room. Didn't give himself enough room when he came out of the huddle. He's got to know how much room he has to work with, and he's got to use what he has. Quarterback can't see the sideline from where he's going.
Got to bisect those lines, right? 2nd down, goal to go.
Here they come again.
Nielsen going for Casper. Houston. Casper made the catch with Ron Johnson right there.
Obviously happy. That's the first productive thing that's happened to him today, and he made 2 absolutely beautiful throws for them to get in the end zone. This being the second one. The first one to Casper for the first down, a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15. This one he takes as much time as he can. He needs a little time to let Casper get one-on-one with Johnson. He just gave him enough room to throw it over the left shoulder. He did so. Casper's going to come down with it for you if you put the ball in that space.
And Nielsen, who was on very shaky ground, has come back to lead this drive. And there is Earl Campbell. As we mentioned, Campbell shaken up. They're attending to him. Jerry Means, the head trainer for Houston, and the medical staff. Earl is up. Casper is caught 8 passes for 98 yards in this game. It seems he always plays well against the Steelers.
He does, and not only with Houston. We saw him with the Raiders for a number of years. Pull them out of several jams. He's just put Houston back in the ball game. This man really had to suck it up. He made a beautiful block just to give Nielsen enough time to get the ball off to Casper. In so doing, he got run over.
Jerry Means smiling there. Apparently Campbell's all right. Here's the try for the point.
Doesn't hurt Jerry.
This will tie it up. And it is good. Florian Kemp ties this game. 9:12 to play in the third. The Oilers and the Steelers, 10-10.
Have you driven the total car?
Introducing a totally new Ford LTD. Reshaped. Refined. Redesigned. Inch by aerodynamic inch. From the ground up. The totally new Ford LTD. The total car.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
You don't have to put up with hotel excuses like the maid, the TV man, or the plumber is gone for the day. Because Holiday Inn gives you this no excuses guarantee. Everything in your room will be right, or we'll make it right. No excuses. Or that night, you stay free. You don't get this guarantee from any other hotel chain. Not one. So, let us take care of you. Holiday Inn gives you a guarantee, not excuses.
This 1982 National Football League game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Atari, the leader in home video games. For fun your whole family can share. And by Holiday Inn, the only hotel chain that gives you a no excuses room guarantee. Florian Kemp kicking off. And it is going to go out of bounds, or did it go into the end zone? Let's see. Oh, it didn't go out of bounds on the far side. Into the end zone, it'll come out to the 20. Bohannon was down there. Came over. He thought it was going to go out of bounds, and no attempt was made. There's Florian Kemp, who kicked the point after to tie things up. Number 4. And on the bench, Earl Campbell.
I think something passed between Earl and Archie that I think you'll see Earl back. Just one of those painful little injuries.
First and 10 at the 20-yard line. Score tied at 10. 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Franco Harris running across the 25. Harris getting near the 30-yard line. Brazil, number 52, making the tackle with help from J.C. Wilson, number 33.
Well, you take a look at Mike Webster. Here he is against Stensrud, who is a young player of 270 pounds or so. It's pretty hard to throw a Webster around. He's got plenty of time, Franco, plenty of time to get up in the hole and get gone before he got rid of Webster.
Second down and 1. Always an interesting call. Handoff going to Frank Pollard. Pollard really got hit. And taking the ball away was Greg Bingham, but boy, did he dive in there?
Yeah, I think it took about a half to get both sides recognizing that this is Pittsburgh versus Houston. We might have been off for 8 weeks, folks, but it's time to realize we are a group of people that really have a go at one another, and you can see the intensity has picked up just with the drive. The people in the stands are more excited. They saw Houston put together a drive and score some points, and boy, that pumps up a defense. If your offense can score for you when you get them the ball, you're a whole lot more likely to get it for them.
The first down at the 32-yard line. Terry Bradshaw to Pollard again. Pollard over the 40-yard line to the 42 and very close to another first down. Brazil 52, Bingham 54 on the tackle. We've isolated on Bingham, the 10-year man from Purdue.
We mentioned it might be hard for the offensive line of Pittsburgh to execute the way they're accustomed to, but it really hasn't been that difficult. They've played exceptionally well. Now, we know what good linebackers Brazil and Bingham are, but they haven't been in the midst of all the plays, and the offensive line has moved people around.
Again, second down and 1. Always a very interesting play if Bradshaw wants to throw off of it. 7:30 to go, third period. Going to throw. Play action, looking back, throws, dropped by Franco Harris.
And had he not dropped to the ground, he would have been dropped by Darrell Hunt.
He would have had just enough for the first down, it looked like. Oh, that'll bring up third down and 1. 7:22 remaining in the third period. We talked about some of the halftime statistics, and now we give you an opportunity to take a look at the way it went.
And there really isn't much to choose from. There's a few mistakes, turnovers 3-2, yardage, nothing sensational, passing, completions, nothing sensational. The game was 10-3, and that's about what the stats say.
That's Hawthorne going in motion, and I don't know. The handoff went, I think, to Thornton in there. It is a first down. Now you see Pollard coming back into the lineup. Thornton got the first down, just did. Score 10-10 here with 6:50 left to play in the third quarter. Steelers led 10-3 at halftime. At 9:12 of this period, Nielsen on a 9-yard touchdown pass to Casper. And they tied it up, did the Oilers. Now Steelers trying to battle back. Bradshaw throwing and completing at the bank. Oh! Well, I already had that one completed to Cunningham, John.
That's the best throw that Bradshaw has made all day. He had to duck an on-rushing lineman and throw in the same motion. He did so, moving forward, put the ball in just a perfect area.
You won't see Cunningham do that very often, thank goodness. But
no, he won't be playing a position.
That's right, but that surprises you.
He came up with a great catch in the midst of several players in the second quarter on the way to their touchdown drive. He'd like to have another chance at that one.
The Oilers and the Steelers battling here after the strike. Almost picked it off as the pass was intended for Cunningham, the tight end.
Second time he's come close today, and it's generally a good idea if you're a quarterback, when a man drops a ball, to give him a chance on the next play. Bradshaw does so, but Cunningham doesn't really get open. Thompson following him the whole way, almost picked it off.
Bradshaw is 11 for 26, 152 yards, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown.
Not his style.
Thompson, as you saw, went to SMU. They're headed for the Cotton Bowl. 3rd and 10. Bradshaw throwing. Ooh. Now, they could have called, John, they could have called
Miles over there.
Yeah, he wants that call in the grass.
Well, of course he does, because how many times will they call it in the grass? About 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, 60%. If I'm Eddie Biles, I want the call too, but it's only going to mean 4 or 5 yards. Or he wants intentional grounding. I mean, I know, and Bradshaw knows that he threw that ball away. But if the official can't read his mind, he gets to go back to the line of scrimmage and start over.
All right, and it's a punting situation. John Goodson, he's averaged 49.8 here in the Dome. And there's Carl Roaches set to receive.
I think that's the one most improved area is the kicking game of Pittsburgh.
A high floater. Roaches on the run. Fair catch. took it in at the 17-yard line. A long one downfield. And incomplete, intended for Harold Bailey. Mel Blount on the coverage.
Tough catch, would have been a hard one, but it's the kind of ball that the receivers like to have an opportunity to make the play on. He had a shoulder position on Blount. It's the kind of play I got to think that John Stallworth's going to come up with. How many times have you seen it happen? That's why you have to figure he's coming up with it. And if a Bailey wants to be in the league of Stallworth and Swan, he's going to have to do the same. That was a well-thrown ball. You don't beat Mel Blount by very often. He had an opportunity and it got away from him.
Bailey is a native of Houston, went to Jack Yates High School here, and he can fly. And out goes to Campbell. He barrels out to the 22-yard line. Looked like he was going to get more.
Here he is, folks. He hasn't run the ball as often as he would like to have run it, and it's not the personality of Houston to run him as seldom as he's run today, but he's run effectively. He's picked up 65 yards and 14 carries. That's up to his average, but they've thrown the ball more on Pittsburgh because they feel they can move the ball, and I think if they execute a little better, they're right.
Lauren Taves making a fine tackle there, John, on Campbell. It is 3rd down and 6. Nielsen throwing all alone. Was he out of bounds?
No, he wasn't out of bounds. I don't know how they're going to judge it, but he was inbounds.
Oh, yeah, he had to be inbounds because Bailey was all alone. He just looked at the sideline and waited.
But he's going to learn. When they tell you to go up the sideline and stand there, and as the zone spreads, I'll hit you, give yourself a little more room. All right?
Ooh,
I know it's nice to be up the sideline, but don't make it tough to stay in.
19-yard pickup. 1st down, Houston at the 41-yard line.
Well done by Nielsen. He never did come to Bailey until he finally threw him the ball, and it gave him an opportunity to stay open.
Both wide receivers set to the far side. Score tied 10-10. 5:19 left, 3rd quarter. Earl Campbell got maybe one. In the middle of that line, it looked like Lauren Taves and Jack Lambert both got a hand on him and upended him, along with big number 93, Keith Willis, a rookie. He's a free agent. Willis right now playing at the left end position for John Goodman.
Well, John Kolb is the defensive line coach, and he said, yes, sir, I've got a lot to learn, and so do a lot of my players. Keith Willis is a fine talent. Being as young as he is, he's got a few things coming.
2nd down and 9. Nielsen steps back, gets it away, and it is intercepted. Coming back with it is Bonnie Shell. Shell gets to the 30-yard line. So Shell comes up with it.
That's the 3rd time today. That's the sort of thing, it wasn't there, and he still tried to make something happen. He's going to have to learn you cannot do that. Come back, get another play, go out and try to get your 1st down.
From imagination and engineering comes a whole new generation of Zenith System 3 television. The sharpest picture Zenith has ever created. Remote control convenience that puts over 100 broadcast and cable channel capability at your fingertips. And handsome new contemporary cabinet designs. New Zenith System 3. Part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
Only Chrysler has 10.9 financing on many new 83 American-built front-wheel drive cars and pickups. Ford and GM don't. Buy a Dodge car or Dodge truck. Plymouth or Chrysler. Save hundreds on financing. Many new 82s have 10.9 financing. And you get $300 to $1,000 back only from Chrysler. And all Chrysler's new American-built cars come with 5-year, 50,000-mile protection. Only Chrysler has 10.9 financing on 82s and 83s. Compare. You'll come to Chrysler. Football is back. The Browns from Cleveland take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's a holiday special. So start off Thanksgiving Day with NFL 82 Thursday.
In the foreground, that's Jim Schaffner, the offensive coordinator, and Gifford Nielsen right behind him. There's not really much to say after you've thrown an interception. So many people say, well, why did you do it? Well, obviously, he didn't do it on purpose, but it's the third time today he has tried to make something good happen out of a bad situation. Donnie Shell's going to be back there to pick off most of those. He's been back to pick 2 today.
And Shell now with 4 interceptions on the year. Hand off to Frank Pollard. Pollard to the 33-yard line. Hit for the rookie Malcolm Taylor out of Tennessee State, a number 5 draft pick, number 70. 30 career interceptions now for Donnie Shell. This is a very talented secondary for the Steelers. Young Woodruff, Shell, Johnson, and the remarkable Mel Blount. 2nd and 7 from the 33 with 3:55 to go. Third period score tied at 10. Oh, batted away by Elvin Bethea.
Biggie!
He put the ham hock out there and batted it away, didn't he?
When he was a young defensive lineman, he was one of the strongest, but he might have been one of the quickest. And I know if there are any old quarterbacks hanging around listening, that he was the hardest hitting. When he hit you, I mean, you stayed conked.
Elvin 7 times an All-Pro. Bring you up to date on some of the scores around the league. Cincinnati leading 18-0 in the third quarter over Philadelphia as Anderson has just passed to Dan Ross. Dallas has taken the lead. A touchdown run by Robert Newhouse put them up. Cleveland 7-0 over New England. Brian Sipe to Ricky Feature for the score. 3rd and 7 at the 33. Pass intended for Jim Smith. He was sandwiched in between Reinfeldt and Perry and really almost made a very acrobatic catch.
He would have had Perry not been as alert as he was and knocked him away from the ball.
So it's 4th down at the 33, and John Goodson, will be coming in to do the punting. There's Jim Smith, played at Michigan, his old alma mater, headed for the Rose. You'll see the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day right here on NBC. This is a line drive for Roaches to field at the 15. Roaches steps up, gets through a few, and goes down as a penalty marker is thrown. Penalty marker thrown at the 26-yard line as Roaches was hit by Tunç Ilkin, the gentleman who was born in Istanbul, Turkey. 53-yard punt. And the indication is that it will go against Houston. Our referee, Dick Jorgensen, talking things over as you watch Ed Biles have a word or two with the Oilers' Robert Brazil.
Illegal block, number 25, receiving team, 1st down.
Number 25.
He's a mystery guest.
We'll look up and see if we can find number 25. All right, the Steelers are tied at 10.
Now, there are solar-powered telephone calls. Why? Well, in many of the world's more remote areas, it's highly impractical, if not impossible, to run telephone lines. And since our solar repeaters, which relay the calls via radio wave, get their power from the sun, no lines are needed. Gee. No. GTE.
Experience one of the best-selling cars in the world. Experience the outstanding performance of the 1983 Mazda GLC with state-of-the-art front-wheel drive, 1.5-liter overhead cam engine, patented independent rear suspension. Mazda GLC, a real driving experience. And the value that's an experience in itself. The more you look, the more you like the Mazda experience.
Back in the Astrodome, Jay Randolph with John Brody. Archie Manning, number 8. Pittsburgh and Houston, 10-10. We're going to give that last call to Tullis, who's number 20.
because they don't have a 25. I think it's a good guess. We know it isn't him.
Handoff going to Stanley Edwards, the rookie from Michigan. In the backfield now. This is the 9th leading ground gainer in Michigan history. In preseason, he had 88 yards on 26 carries. And Gary Dunn, number 67, the nose man, made the stop as Tom Beasley returns to the lineup, and Bob Coors comes out for Pittsburgh.
Very big drive for Houston. If they can take some time off the clock, make some first downs, get the ball into Pittsburgh territory, they'll definitely get it into the fourth quarter, and maybe if they can put some points on the board, now they'll start thinking about winning the ball game.
Second down and 6. Patted down by Lauren Taves, who was right on top of Nielsen. We get some bad news for the Steelers. Ernest French has a broken bone in his leg. You remember he went off earlier, the rookie free agent from Alabama A&M. Look at some other scores for you around the National Football League. The Jets are trumping Baltimore. Pat Leahy's just kicked a 37-yard field goal. They have 11:56 left to play. Miami's taken the lead over Buffalo, a 21-yard field goal by Uwe von Schaman.
9-7. They must have had a few of the same problems that these two teams have encountered.
3rd and 6. The throw is short of the tight end, Dave Casper. Well, he had to get rid of it quickly in defense of Nielsen, but the ball was way underthrown.
Well, he actually got rid of it too late. That's what happened. When he came out from underneath the center, Casper opened way up, and he didn't hit him immediately. You see, right now, the ball should be gone. And when it isn't, his offensive line, that's an aggressive pass block, they gave him enough time to throw the ball swiftly, but when he stood up and tried to get down the field and then had to come back to Casper, it was too late.
That goes back to what John Brody said earlier about the instincts, how important they are to the professional quarterback.
Well, the little schemes that you try to work out during the week, you just don't have time to do now.
Parsley punting. Rick Woods is there at the 43, up over the 45, the 50, and down to the 48-yard line. So the Steelers will have it in Houston territory with 2 up back. Goes down, and they call it an incomplete pass. Boy, I think that should have been intentional grounding. I don't make any bones about it.
So does Robert Brazil. He's sitting there, he couldn't believe it. Listen, if you're a good actor, a quarterback, you can make it look like you're trying to throw the ball to a receiver. Now watch this. Bradshaw knows he's had, whoops.
You see any receivers
make it look
over there?
Well, in the area, in the area.
All right.
They didn't call it.
We saw Manning a few moments ago. He's going to come into the game, we expect. Is this for today, or is this for down the road, depending on what happens?
I think if I'm Eddie Biles, I don't send him in today without making him the quarterback. In other words, they know there's a situation, but don't send him in and expect him to be Frank Marowall. You're going to make a decision, and you better make it for all time, because Gifford Nielsen is either.
Inside the 40-yard line. Nice run by Frank Pollard. He has good speed outside, doesn't he?
You bet. These fellas are running the ball well inside. They haven't thrown it nearly as well as they've run it, and that's why I'm really expecting them to run the ball a little more than they have up to now.
It's going to be 3rd down and 1. They're going to go to the goal line offensive arrangement. With the ball at the 39-yard line. The clock running with 1:55 to play in the 3rd period. The score tied 10-10. Davis and that's Davis and Pollard in the backfield, and that is Pollard. Pollard looked like he got the first down. Bingham and Baker, 54 and 75 in the middle to make the stop. We may have our first measurement of the game right here.
It's good by about 6 inches.
Well, you heard it first right here, folks.
Well,
let's see. They're going to bring him in?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to call for the chains. Next week, the Steelers will play the Seattle Seahawks, and the Oilers get the New England Patriots. A reminder, this telecast presented by authority of the NFL. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Houston Oilers and the NFL is prohibited.
It's short by an inch.
Hey, you're measuring those putts again. All right, now, 4th down and inches. Pollard has 48 yards on 9 carries. Eddie Biles stares out at the scene. And the Steelers will go with the ball between the 38 and 39-yard line. 1:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Score tied 10-10. They're coming to their feet, cheering the defense. Hawthorne goes in motion. The handoff going to Davis, and he's got the first down. Russell Davis, 3rd-year man. His 1st year was spent on injured reserve because of a broken arm.
This is one of the tough things to do, Jay. Everybody stays still. They know it's a critical play. They haven't been playing for 2 months. Everybody in a short yardage situation is puckering, they're quivering their arm, and they all stay on side. They execute properly, and they pick it up easily.
Ball is at the 36-yard line. We're inside the minute mark of the 3rd quarter. First down for the Steelers. Franco Harris in the backfield with Frank Pollard. The wide receivers left. The pass is batted down. Oh, and Frank Pollard said, I would have had it. I would have had it.
Robert Brazil is unbelievable. What he does is he reaches beyond where you think he can. And as a quarterback, that's happened to Terry twice today, and Ted Thompson has done the same thing to him. Both of these linebackers are so active that you see them out of the corner of your eye, but you know they can't get to the play. It's like a shortstop throwing to first base. You know you got the runner when you throw it. I know Bradshaw was the most surprised man in the house.
6 consecutive Pro Bowls for Robert Brazil, and the reason is plays like that. He is a remarkable performer. 2nd and 10. Smith and Swan, the wide receivers now, 88 and 86. Number 75 put his hand up. Looked like it was intended for Jim Smith. John, it seems to me that we've had a great many more balls batted at the line of scrimmage in this game by both sides than usual.
Well, I mean, there are several reasons for it. Number one, you get a little, you throw the ball quickly and you can get it batted down if you don't put enough arc on it. You don't take the proper steps, the ball doesn't come out of your hand high enough. Now, that's the sort of thing that you correct quickly in training camp, all right? But now this is really the first scrimmage they've had in 2.5 months. That's the little thing that restricts your gains.
3rd and 10. Same formation. The throw is short. Bradshaw under tremendous pressure from Bingham. And Vernon Perry, who was coming from the safety spot. And now the decision will be made as to whether they try the field goal, and my guess is that... Well,
I'd try it. If I had Anderson, I'd try it, but they're going to punt.
That's right, they're going to punt. John Goodson, the young man from Texas, 8th-round draft pick, the rookie. Bradshaw talking things over with his coach.
No, the other way around.
Cliff Scott, yeah, the other way around. He's talking it over. He's listening.
Chuck's saying, man, I've seen you throw the ball over the top of those linemen before.
Goodson angling it here for the near sideline. And it bounces back upfield and is batted out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. One of the Steelers getting a hand on it. Here comes Archie Manning.
He couldn't come in at a better time. This ball game is still in the hat. Gifford Nielsen had a tough time, but he also did some things very effectively. They think that Archie's their guy in the future. At least that's my opinion. And they're putting him to the test, and he loves it.
Archie Manning, his 81 statistics at New Orleans. Archie now 33 years old, 12 seasons of NFL football, an All-American at Ole Miss. Nielsen on the sidelines, relegated to clipboard duty. From the 16, first down. Manning's first throw. Over the middle. Incomplete. Pittsburgh battled for it along with Donnie Shell, and Shell wanted that ball. He really is tough.
Watch how quiet Archie Manning's feet are. When I say that, I mean, when he gets back there, he stays in there and fires that ball. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of jittery action. He's just a solid professional football player.
You mentioned, John, that he really had quite a fine career playing with a football team that you wouldn't rate in the upper echelon for a long, long time, the New Orleans Saints.
Well, it's the worst franchise. I mean, I don't care how you structure it. Statistically, they were tough. He was a bright light in that franchise, and I'm glad to see him get with a team that has a chance.
On 2nd and 10, Manning coming out. At the 18-yard line, the Steelers come up with it. In underneath the pile. It was Tom Beasley, the 5-year man from Virginia Tech, as Archie Manning coughed it up.
He did that. He was in the midst of making a good situation out of a bad, which we've discussed is so hard to do. Getting a pretty good pass rush by Gary Dunn right up the middle. Eludes one man. Looks like he's going to get a good block, and before he even's hit by Lambert, he fumbles the ball, and they turn it over.
Jack Ham kind of stripped the back of the ball away from him. And it is first down at the 17 for the Steelers. 11 seconds left in the third period. A very big turnover here. Bradshaw throwing. Touchdown, Benny Cunningham. Cunningham, the big guy from Clemson, was in behind him, John. 17-yard touchdown pass.
How often have you seen it? Bradshaw will take advantage of it. Throws to Cunningham on the first play after a turnover. Finds him on a linebacker. Has no problem making the play. Ted Washington cannot handle that one.
Gary Anderson attempting the point after with Rick Woods to hold. 6 seconds left in the third period. It is good. And the Steelers retake the lead here 17-0.
Well, if Archie needed any reason to get pumped up, that turnover certainly gave him one. He knows he's back in the game. It's the same whether you're playing in New Orleans, Houston, San Francisco, Miami, you name it. Football's football. His team is 7 points down, and he's got to get something going.
The 201st touchdown pass for Terry Bradshaw, tying him with Roman Gabriel for 10th spot on the list. A 17-yarder to Cunningham. Gifford Wilson.
Before he finishes the way he plays, he may get to 300.
Bradshaw has been something very special, no question about it. There's Manning. He'll be coming back in here. Eddie Biles has seen his team battle back to tie it, then lose the lead after that turnover, as the Steelers did what they do so often, take advantage of a break.
Well, that's right. They've had a few that the defense was up to stopping, but only so long.
Roaches comes out from the end zone. Roaches trying to get outside, and he cannot get outside, and he is brought down at about the 7-yard line. Anthony Washington, number 42, the cornerback, really did a job. The gun sounds. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, Steelers 17, Oilers 10. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Dear Lord, thank you for this food.
He hit .372 in semi-pro ball, played football against Jim Thorpe, fought over 100 amateur and professional fights. Yet it wasn't Art Rooney's athletic triumphs, but the triumphs of his heart that have made him a sports legend. Like his half-century of fatherly devotion to what the people of Pittsburgh call Rooney's team. We salute him and his Steelers on their 50th anniversary. Pittsburgh National. We're a bank that believes in performance.
Sports Week, tonight at 11:15.
Back here in the Astrodome, John Brody hits 17-10 Steelers. Benny Cunningham making the big catch. We really haven't heard a lot from, fellas like Swan and Stallworth in this affair.
Well, you can take away a little bit, but you can't take away everything. And they've left Cunningham in a position to make the big plays, but they've taken Swan and Stallworth away. And I think if I'm preparing a defense to beat Pittsburgh, I'm going to do the same thing.
First final of the afternoon, Bum Phillips. And New Orleans beat Kansas City 27-17.
Here I go ragging on New Orleans. They're beating Kansas City, who's pretty good.
Yes, sir. First and 10 from the 9-yard line. Manning rolling, throwing downfield, and it's complete. Oh, what a fine throw. Harold Bailey made the catch. Mel Blunt was right there, first down at the 33-yard line.
That was a good catch, but that ball was there. From the time he decided to let him get, it was gone. There's not a lot of wind-up in Archie. When he decides to make the move, a defender doesn't have much time to react. Now, to throw a ball 35 yards down the field on the line of flight that he threw it, okay, boom, it's gone. He stands up there, he catches it in his hands, and Blunt didn't have time to react. Good catch, good play.
On target, a pickup of 24 yards on the play. A little delay to Adger Armstrong, and he gets maybe a yard. John Goodman smelled it out, number 95, and Beasley 65. These two ends for Pittsburgh. Goodman in his second year and Beasley in his fifth. They do a fine job. The Oilers have 307 yards. The Steelers 243.
Yeah. That counts for a lot, huh?
Doesn't count at all. You have to go all the way down the other end of the board where it's 17-10 Steelers.
But that just kind of exposes how important those 4 or 5 turnovers become.
That's the truth. Wide receivers set to the right side for Archie Manning on 2nd and 9. Manning throwing. Oh, and just overthrew Adger Armstrong up the sideline. Armstrong was one-on-one with the linebacker Lambert and had him beat a step.
Well, that's fine. He had him beat, but what he did is he took a little too long to get into his route. We do not have a chance to see it. Archie's coming to him late, but he now gets to him. He knows he's going to throw it in the pocket, just enough time to get rid of the ball. Puts it a little too far out there, and he only gets so many chances. You can tell he's still looking to see whether it's complete or not.
All right. 3rd and 9 at the 33. 13:29 remaining in this game. The Steelers lead it 17-10. They had a 10-3 lead at halftime. Both clubs scored in the third period. Manning throwing behind Harold Bailey. And coming across was Lauren Taves in the center of the field, the linebacker with good coverage.
There's a perfect instance. Archie Manning hasn't played with Bailey long enough for Bailey to know how strong his arm is, for Archie to know where the open spots are as far as Bailey's concerned. Archie wanted him to stay right where he was in between the linebackers, and he'd have peppered him, right? Bailey kept coming across the field. As a result, miscommunication, turnover.
There's another final. The Jets put it on Baltimore 37-0. Cliff Parsley to punt with Rick Woods set to receive. Going in the fourth period.
Practicing twice a day only helps, I guess, if your team is also good.
That's very true. At the 18, it's Woods at the 25, the 30. And a good return up to about the 34-yard line. And by Canon, manufacturer of advanced plain paper copiers. John Brody and Jay Randolph with you. 13-12 to go in this one. The Steelers lead the Oilers 17-10. 1st and 10, Pittsburgh from their own 35.
I think you'll see the Oilers start blitzing, Jay. It's one way they've been able to stop Bradshaw, and they better continue.
And here is Franco Harris cutting it up at the 40, out to the 44-yard line.
Every time he gets in a little heat, he gives it to Franco.
Well, I'm reminded, John, that back on October 15th of 1972, against the Houston Oilers, Franco Harris had his first 100-yard game, 115 yards, and it was the first of many. What a tremendous performer he has been. He today has only 29 yards on 7 carries.
All right, coming back at the beginning of this year, you knew Franco was ready to play. He had an off year for him last year, and that's still an outstanding year. But you could tell this year he was after and played great the first 2 weeks.
On 2nd and 9, Bradshaw throws, complete to Cunningham. First down at midfield. Cunningham hit immediately by the linebacker Brazil, but it is a first down, and one of the Oilers is shaken up back at the 32-yard line as we look again.
All right, Robert Brazil, you get to see how this is his area. He's got to cover it both up, in front, and behind. This time they throw in front of Stallworth and to Cunningham. Brazil is in the back part of the drop area, about 12 yards deep. That's why they're not throwing the ball to John Stallworth and Lynn Swan, because these fellas are cutting off their areas, cutting off their lanes. But Cunningham is coming into the short area. Bradshaw's hit him on several occasions, and that's why we haven't seen those other two.
That's Darrell Hunt, who is shaken up, the 4-year veteran from Oklahoma. We'll be back in a moment.
Learjet, Coco Lima on the final, gear down, lock.
The test pilot who broke the sound barrier, General Chuck Yeager.
Reliability means a lot to me. That's why I go with AC Delco technology in my car. This AC far-range spark plug is no bigger than a bullet. Yet it's engineered to give you up to 30,000 miles of reliable performance. Never wait for trouble.
Put high technology AC Delco parts in your car or truck.
AC Delco is the way to go.
Open a bottle of Suave Bola and delicious things happen. Savory veal things. Succulent chicken things. Delicate seafood things. Precisely what Franco Bola had in mind when he perfected the clean, crisp taste of Suave Bola. For family, guests, and people you'd like to be your guests. Suave Bola. Invite a couple of bottles to dinner. You can always trust the taste of a Bola.
It's a rare moment in sports when athletics become a thing of beauty. When 10 of the best figure skaters in the world get together, it's magic. Don't miss an encore performance of the magic of world professional figure skating. A Thanksgiving Day special on NBC Sports World, Saturday.
There you see something we want you to join us for. Thursday, NBC Sports has a big Thanksgiving Day special for you. NFL 82, and then the Cowboys and the Browns. It all starts at 3:30 Eastern Time, Thanksgiving Day on NBC. We have another final. The Rams led at one point 14-0, but Atlanta stormed back to win it 34-17. That's our third final of the afternoon. I want to correct something. The injured player, Ted Washington, number 59, the 10-year man from Mississippi Valley, not Darrell Hunt, as we had given you earlier. And Washington is up. He's a free agent, came in a trade from the New York Jets. Very consistent performer. We talked about Pittsburgh throwing more to the tight end, John Brody. Cunningham has caught 4 for 75 yards and a touchdown.
And a couple he hasn't caught, so you know they have featured it.
Ball at midfield. Going to be first down for Pittsburgh. The Steelers lead it 17-10. 12:29 to play. Coming up when this is over, we'll bring you up to date on NFL 82 with all of the scores that we have, what's happening as we return to play in the NFL. Over the middle, ball batted, and almost taken away by Bingham.
Whoops.
Greg Bingham. Oh, is he upset with himself?
Oh, no, he's probably hot at anybody else. It's pretty hard to get hot at yourself. I think he was a little concerned that Darrell Hunt got in his way.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Darrell, what are you doing?
Don't do that to me.
I wonder if he was aiming at the ball or Darrell. Anyway, they almost got a big break. That's one of several that have been tipped by a lineman and almost picked off.
Second down and 10. That is Greg Hawthorne. Hawthorne, the versatile youngster from Baylor, who has, may have heard us say earlier, found a real home at wide receiver. He also can play in the backfield. He came out of it that time. Bingham and Riley on the tackle, 54 and 53. And the gain is down to the 43-yard line of the Oilers. 3rd down and 4. Now Lynn Swan and John Stallworth returning. As Hawthorne comes out. A couple of other finals. Dallas beat Tampa Bay 14-9. And it was Cleveland defeating New England 10-7. Here's Bradshaw over the middle, completing it, and all the way down to the 32-yard line for a first down. The pass going to Jim Smith. They had Stallworth, Swan, and Smith all in there. A pickup of 11 yards on the play, down to the 32.
Still went to the man in the middle. That's where Smith was playing on that occasion as they doubled the outsides. Picking up the first down, and Bradshaw threw that a little low, too. He just had he had a lane to throw it through.
Pollard, number 44, goes way wide to the right. Smith is set in the slot left.
Trying to get down the field.
And it's for Smith, and it is underthrown just a bit. Jim Smith trying to come back to the ball a little bit. The coverage down there by Vernon Perry.
Another discipline area. All quarterbacks have to discipline themselves to stand up and throw the ball in the pocket. They all have a tendency to be dropping back when they throw. This ball is thrown underneath Jim Smith just because the ball doesn't have enough on it, and Terry did not plant and throw.
Now Hawthorne is back into the lineup. Russell Davis also comes back in. Bradshaw's 14 of 36, 186 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, facing 2nd down and 10. And a handoff to Hawthorne. Hawthorne to the 25, still going down to the 21-yard line, and it looks like he's got a first down. It's close. Carter Hartwig, number 36, made the play, and time called to maybe look at the measurement.
Beautiful offensive blocking by Steve Carson. He got out there and led the play. When you're a running back and you've got a guy like Steve Carson who's 255 or 60 pounds, can get out there before you do, allow you to turn up the field, it's a help.
Carson, a number 5 draft choice from South Carolina. Here is the measurement. And they don't have it. Just shy. We have 10:27 remaining in the game. Steelers scored first on a 48-yard field goal in the first period, then got a Bradshaw to Hawthorne pass. The Oilers got a 31-yard field goal, and it was 10-3 at halftime. Both clubs scored in the third. Steelers lead it 17-10. Ball at the 22-yard line. Steelers facing 3rd and 1. Russell Davis, Greg Hawthorne, and Sidney Thornton are all there. Greg Hartwig, or Hawthorne. Greg Hawthorne is on the wing right. There he comes in motion. And getting the call is Davis. The penalty marker goes down. Davis got the first down at the 21, but a marker is down. Greg Stemrick made the tackle as he came across.
Doesn't look good for Pittsburgh either.
No, sir.
By the reaction of Hawthorne.
Holding Pittsburgh.
Doesn't take you long. Everyone looks like they're pretty well picked up. However, that play was thrown by the side judge, and his angle is right there in the middle, left guard and left tackle area, so something must have happened there.
That'll be stepped off and be brought back out to the 32-yard line.
Holding, number 27, offense, still 3rd down.
On Hawthorne as he was in motion coming across. And now it's 3rd down. And just a little more than 10.
Got
it. In the middle, there he is, touchdown. Beautiful play. Jim Smith going in for the score. 3rd touchdown of the season, 32 yards, and a really great throw.
Well, it was a nice throw. It's It's the kind of throw that when you give Terry Bradshaw that kind of time, he's going to make for you. Now, Vernon Perry's been playing well all day. Terry has thrown on linebackers throughout most of the day. This time he got a one-on-one situation. Jim Smith against Vernon Perry. He took advantage of it right straight down the field. They've doubled the outsides, as we've mentioned, but they aren't doubling the middle.
Third straight game that Bradshaw has thrown 3 touchdown passes in. The try for the point after by Gary Anderson is good, and the Steelers are up on top 24-10. The Oilers have 10 minutes and 6 seconds with which to get back into this game.
Canon's AE1 program is impressing a lot of people. For the pro photographer,
It's even more advanced.
and for pro quarterback Joe Theismann,
It's even simpler to use.
no matter how tough the shot, the program mode automatically sets the camera for the best possible photo.
This Canon is super.
The Canon AE1 program. So advanced, it's simple. Canon, the photographic consultant to the National Football League.
We are USA 1, taking charge, utilizing advanced engine technology in a front-wheel drive Cavalier with a new high-compression electronically fuel-injected 2-liter engine, an available 5-speed transmission, and a new lower price. Chevrolet's going to give the imports competition they haven't seen before. The new Cavalier from America's sales leader, USA 1, is taking charge.
Football is back. The Browns from Cleveland take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's a holiday special. So start off Thanksgiving Day with NFL 82 Thursday.
Anderson set to kick off. Roaches and Tullis are deep. A low liner. Roaches takes it at the 7, at the 10, at the 15, at the 20, the 25. And he may have gotten to the 26. He was met first by Greg Bingham, number 54. 24-10. The Steelers lead it as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WPXI, the news station.
There's the scores. We'd like to send along our best wishes to the man they call Mojo, John Brody. Bill Blackie was a real institution here in an automobile accident or hit by a car, I guess he was, and we wish him well. Hope he's okay.
You got it coming to the ballpark today.
Oh, my. Archie Manning on the run, and chasing after him is Bob Coors, the big guy from Arizona State.
I can see Art saying to himself, when I came in this league, I could outrun all you defensive linemen. Times have changed.
Bradshaw talking to the assistant coaches upstairs.
They're listening to mood music. I don't know which.
I don't think that. But there you see 202 career touchdown passes, 201 interceptions. John, that's really a good ratio for a man who's thrown as many balls as he has in this league.
Yeah, 50, if it's 500, generally they say that's fine, but that doesn't, those stats, they don't tell all the story, and his story is one of success.
He's a winner. Down goes Manning at the 12-yard line. Brian Hinkle, the first-year man from Oregon, who began his career as a quarterback, spent 81 on the injured reserve list. He looks good. They like Hinkle.
Yeah, they like Hinkle, and offensively they're having a very tough time. You notice nobody's standing their ground in there. When you go back to throw the ball, if the middle of the line is sitting in your lap when you're standing up to throw it, you know you're in trouble. Now, the best offensive lineman they have, Munchik, is hurt, all right? Now they've got Schumacher's fine, but they're not as solid at offensive line as they need to be consistent contenders, and that's an area that has to be improved.
Philadelphia came back with 2 late touchdowns, but came up short. Cincinnati beats the Eagles. And Miami has defeated Buffalo 9-7. Manning on the run, throws up the sideline and threw it away. Punting unit will be coming on with 9:10 left to play. Steelers leading at 24-10. nodding off.
You know, it's set up pretty well where you could make a couple of quarterbacks the GOAT for the day. And I think it'll be interesting to see what develops here in Houston, because they really are not working efficiently, but they can't be expected to after 2 or 3 days practice. And I'm just going to be interested to see how it develops.
Cliff Parsley standing in his own end zone. Rick Woods downfield at the 44. Steps up at the 50. Oh, did he get turned around? He got it to the 45-yard line, but he took a hit. He sacrificed himself. Rich Tomaselli, young man who played at West Virginia Wesleyan. Buchanan, West Virginia, made the play. A 54-yard punt, a 13-yard return. There's the Super Bowl tournament. That's what faces these teams down the road. The top 8 in each conference who would qualify. And a team could conceivably be 4 and 5 and still make it.
I'll tell you, the best team may not win, but it'll sure be the most exciting. And we'll sure have a lot of people interested. And I think it's a wonderful way to frame it once you haven't got a full season to play.
I couldn't agree with you more. 1st and 10 at the 45. How quickly it comes to Stallworth. And Stallworth is at the 40 and lunges down to the 37-yard line. Jesse Baker, number 75, was there, along with Greg Stemrick. 8 minutes, 30 seconds remaining to be played in this one. The Steelers have a 24-10 advantage. These two teams over the last couple of seasons have split games, each winning at home. The Steelers haven't won here since 1978 when they won 13-3. That's Sidney Thornton. Thornton at the 30 and out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Greg Bingham ran him out. They got to be happy to have Thornton back. He missed the 2 games earlier because of a hamstring pull. He's a good, solid performer.
And you notice the offensive line is the one that's carrying Pittsburgh right now. I'll tell you they are. They're giving Bradshaw time to throw, but they're also consuming time on the clock. And when you get 2 touchdowns or 10 points ahead and you've got an offensive line that can dominate and control the rest of the game, it makes it very tough to get a break on defense and very tough to get the ball back.
Those offensive lines so very, very important. So often they don't get the credit they deserve. Coming back after this long layoff, too. It shows great tenacity, the way the Steeler offensive line has played today, the way they protected that man right there and allowed him to do his thing.
They play good every week. You know, I didn't think they'd be able to do some of the things they've been able to do as well as they have.
Delay of game penalty, 5 yards against the Steelers.
But every time you see Joe Gordon, he says, well, the most underrated part of our team
offense, still first down,
is the offensive line. I say, you know, it's about time people recognize, and I think they do now, that not only it's the underrated part of every team. It's just so good on this team that it goes unnoticed.
Our thanks to Joe and also to Bob Hyde, the 2 PR directors who've been a busy time getting everybody ready this week. That was Franco Harris down to the 31-yard line. Harris stopped on the play by Avon Riley, number 53. Avon was really a surprise for the Oilers in '81. There's the time remaining, clock running. 24-10, the Steelers in control of things. Next week, we mentioned, the Oilers will play the New England Patriots at Foxborough. The Patriots losing today at Cleveland. And Steelers play at Seattle in the Kingdome next Sunday. They were ambushed there last year at midseason. Pollard out of bounds. No gain on the play. Brazil again over to make the play. He is there almost every time.
With that nice, affectionate grin.
Well, you can say what you want, John. It's been a tough time for the fans, a tough time for the owners, a tough time for the players. They've got to be happy to be back, although that big vote lies ahead on Tuesday, the ratification by the Players Association.
There's so many factors involved with everyone's thinking, and each individual situation is so different that you hate to make blanket judgments.
Yeah.
I'm just happy they're back playing.
Me too.
I'm sure they'll do what they see best to do, and that's the way it ought to be.
3rd and 12. Bradshaw the 35-yard line. And the sack by Robert Brazil.
And Kenny Kennard did the yeoman's part of that work.
He made it happen. Kennard, number 71.
And you know, it's really funny. You see somebody, and from upstairs, we'll sit as analysts or broadcasters, and they'll say, you know, now look at here. We've seen Lynn Swan all day long. He hadn't been very open, but look here. Now, see that screen? We don't see anybody around him, right? Now, why don't they throw to him? Well, if you take a look at Bradshaw, he had several reasons he didn't throw to him. Kennard was one, Brazil was another, and he couldn't see for another.
John Goodson's had a very fine punting day. He tried to block it. He got it away straight up in the air. There are penalty markers all over the place. Houston might have been offsides. They sent somebody from the left side in there and really got there fast. It was, I believe, Tim Smith, yes, the wide receiver. And illegal procedure against Pittsburgh. Is that the call? It is indeed. There's Goodson, barefoot punter. Craig Colquitt, of course, had the Achilles tendon injury while he was playing basketball back in February.
And Craig was a good punter.
Indeed. This young man looks like a very fine young talent.
Illegal motion, right end, offense, still fourth down.
Take a look. He gave him the first big play of the game. That's right. When they took a penalty, he knocked it out on the 2-yard line. Set up a score.
Carl Roaches ready to receive.
Carl's had an active day.
Always does, does he? And coming again, and he got it away. Here to the near sideline, out of bounds, and they will mark it at about the 18-yard line. Take a look at some of the scores around the National Football League for you. That's the final. Cincinnati over Philadelphia, the Bengals. Dallas came back against Tampa Bay to win it 14-9. Cleveland beats New England 10-7. And the Jets shut out Baltimore 37-0.
And the Super Bowl defending champions are 0-2 playing in your hometown. And
that's right. We'll see what happens. That's a later game. Miami 9-7 over Buffalo in a ding-dong affair. First down at the 18-yard line. Archie Manning, lots of time, going to run the football. Slides down at the 25-yard line, and coming in on top of him, Rick Woods.
That's a pretty good pull-up by Rick Woods. He's a rookie. He hasn't played a lot of football, but they've got him in there in a semi-prevent. It's a nickel defense, as you call it. No one to throw to for Archie. Rick makes the play and still lays off the quarterback when he goes down. That's a good reaction.
Second down and 3. They give that time to Earl Campbell, and David Little, a second-year man from Florida, came in to make the tackle. Little is number 50. Atlanta put it on the Rams, came back strong in that one.
Down 14-0, go for 34-17. That's
Mike Ditka used to play at Chicago, now coaching, of course, there, and they're tied up. Green Bay beats Minnesota. 3rd and 2 at the 26. Manning better hurry. No, he can't do it. Gary Dunn right up the middle to make the play, number 67.
That's the big problem. The offensive line is tired. The defense for Pittsburgh has had a good pass rush. They got one injury early, but it's been a day like that for both quarterbacks, Nielsen and Manning. They really haven't had the time to operate back there as they'd like to have. And that just makes it tough.
Nobody said it would be easy. Parsley, punting again.
I think Archie's heard that enough in his career.
I guess he has. There's Rick Woods. Steelers lead at 24-10. We have 4:56 remaining, and a lot of the faithful are heading home. Parsley booms it out of there. Woods at the 35, at the 40. And he fumbled the ball as he got to midfield, and we'll have to wait till he untangle it. I think maybe he got it back. He did. 48-yard punt, a 15-yard return as we look at Gifford Nielsen, who has been replaced at quarterback. It's Steelers 24, the Oilers 10.
Chevy trucks are taking charge with the all-new S10 Blazer. Available with the revolutionary Instatrack 4-wheel drive system. Shift from freewheeling 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive high and back at any speed. Instatrack. Chevy's got it. Ford doesn't. Datsun doesn't. Toyota doesn't. Chevy S10 Blazer from America's truck sales leader. Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge.
I've been hearing the so-called sports expert talk about his realistic home video baseball game. Well, I've played real baseball. And I also played the new Atari Real Sports Baseball, and I like it. Because I can sacrifice fly as well as steal, pick off runners. Hey, it's baseball like baseball should be played. And who are you going to listen to anyhow? That other guy who just talks baseball? Or a nice guy like me who lives it?
New Real Sports Baseball, one in a series only from Atari.
Well, both Cleveland and Dallas were winners today. They have identical records of 2-1, and you'll see them on Thanksgiving Day on NBC. Join us for NFL 82. The coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern Time. You'll see it Thanksgiving Day, Dallas and Cleveland, right here on NBC, the home of the Super Bowl. Hand off to Franco Harris. First down at midfield. Harris gets maybe a yard. Wrapped up by Mike Stensrud, number 67. John Rodgers, the rookie tight end, replacing Benny Cunningham for the Steelers. Rodgers, a free agent, was a 3-year starter at Louisiana Tech. Of course, that's where Terry Bradshaw went to school. Malcolm Taylor is now at left end for the Oilers. Second down and 9. Bradshaw throwing down the sideline, and it is incomplete. The pass going for John Stallworth. He says I was knocked out of bounds. The official says you would have been out of bounds. And that's the way it'll stand. Stallworth having a little say, though.
Well, that's just about how much room he's been given all day. If you'll notice when he did catch the ball, there were 2 defenders, one in front, one just behind. It's been that sort of an afternoon. It's allowed Terry to throw it through the seams, but I do believe he would have been close. But maybe out, maybe in. The official's in better position to see it than I. Give the guy a catch. He hadn't had one all day.
Oh, yeah. The word on Ted Washington of the Oilers is that there was no fracture on that injury that he had to leave the game on, so hopefully he'll be able to return to play. Bradshaw, 16 out of 40, 228 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions. 3rd and 9 at the 49-yard line of the Oilers. Ooh. Down he goes. Now penalty marker goes down. John, you mentioned it earlier. Those offensive linemen, those defensive linemen, they've had a workout. There's some tired fellows down there.
It doesn't matter how much you work out. No. It doesn't matter how many sit-ups you do, how many times you pump the iron. When the adrenaline's pumping and the game is on the line and you've got 3 hours of exercise to go through.
Number 52, offense, decline, 4th down.
Those guys are dragging.
Holding against Mike Webster.
I don't blame him.
He's holding on.
I'm not saying it's sayonara, but if something's going to happen, it has to happen very quick.
Some 3:48 remaining to be played. Goodson to punt, Roaches to receive. Punt for Goodson. And it bounds back upfield and goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Did they throw a flag back here? Let's see if there's a roughing call. Yep. I I think so.
There's certainly a guy back there with his hands palms up in the air. That's roughing if I ever saw it.
Yes, sir. Boy, I hope Goodson doesn't get stepped on by that bare foot.
Yeah.
47-yard punt.
Stan Edwards, good running back, but he's going to have to learn how to try and block punts.
Oh, it will give the Steelers the football with 3:38 remaining. Some Steeler fans in the end zone down to the right, and they're enjoying themselves, dressed in black and yellow. There they are. They've had a big day, I tell you.
They have a big day every day.
Yes, sir. The fans are back, I can tell you. First and 10 at the 45-yard line. Franco Harris dancing for the yard, running that clock. It's down to 3.5. Steelers leading 24-10.
I think indicative of the situation in Houston right now is that with 3:21 left to play in the game, years past there has been interest. These people would still be in the stands waving their blue. If you take a look throughout the stands today, there aren't 10,000 people left, and they've been gone for 3 or 4 minutes. They give you a pretty good indicator of the way things are going around town, and I think it's not on an uphill trend right at the moment in Houston.
Pitch back to Franco. Turns the corner. Gets to the 50. Puts his head down and is all the way down to the 43-yard line. Stop made by number 54, Greg Bingham. Bill Kay also in there. Franco on the run.
And it's being strung out. It's taken up a little time. That's about all you can say.
Well, I know a lot of people like to be in State College next Saturday, John, when Penn State, Pittsburgh do battle. Wow, boy. There you see.
They've got some pretty good teams in Pennsylvania, as you see the people that have gone.
There's people not hanging in here. Congratulate our friends down at Morgantown. West Virginia ended a fine season.
There's a couple down here that...
Mountaineers headed toward the Gator Bowl. Don Nyland doing another fine job with the West Virginia team. A few more good teams up east this year, it seems to me, in recent years. Well, we've got the 2-minute warning being given. The Steelers lead it 24-10 over the Houston Oilers. Now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1981, the Rams have fought back to tie Houston with 1.5 minutes left as Frank Corral kicks off to Willie Tullis at the 5. Tullis starts left and stays left. He picks up some blockers and rolls to midfield. With Carter Hartwig fighting Leroy Irvin all the way down the sideline, Tullis goes into the end zone for a 27-20 Oiler victory.
Why has the all-aluminum can become America's favorite recyclable beverage container? Because aluminum cans stack so easily.
Stack? Because aluminum cans carry so easily. They're safe. They don't break.
Aluminum really protects the taste. Because we're able to recycle aluminum cans. That's it! Shoppers love those stackable, lightweight, unbreakable, taste-protecting, recyclable all-aluminum cans!
The steel curtain lives. Of course, a lot of the fans bringing their signs today, voicing their opinions through their artwork.
Ooh, that's cold.
It's a little cold, no question about it. But it pays your money and you can bring your sign, huh?
Those fans are with you, win or tie. Always has been, always will be.
First and 10 at the 43-yard line for the Steelers. And taking it up the middle is Sidney Thornton. Thornton goes all the way down to the 30-yard line, gets another first down. Clock is running. We're inside 1 minute and 50. 13-yard pickup, John.
Just beautiful coordination in the offensive line. Craig Wolfley, look at that block. Number 73 on Darrell Hunt. Moves him out of there. There's only 1 minute and 36 left in the game. He's been playing for 58 minutes. That's ability.